comes into play. We have actually played better in Bartow as of late. I think we've won 5 straight, and we're 2-0 in the AAC play. And in order to have an opportunity to, again, put yourself in a position to make a run down the stretch, you got to protect your home floor.
The game itself raises money for cancer research. So it's not just a game that has Coach Bartow's name on it. That would be enough, but it also raises money for cancer research. You can donate there, uabsports.com for the link there. But that's important too, Andy, is that to point out is this is not just where we honor a coach. That's important, but it is also raising money for a very important cause.
Yeah, and I think a portion of the ticket proceeds go to the O'Neill Cancer Center here on our UAB campus. And yeah, there's a lot of causes, and there's no reason. I understand, C.M. Newton, the late great C.M. Newton, who I've got great affinity for, always said, basketball's kind of in a tough spot till you really get to about February or March, because you really don't have a jump off, and you're always in competition with football. When you start college basketball, it's really right when football is getting into the meat of the conference schedule, and people kind of focus on that. And now, as we've got the Bartow Classic on a Sunday, I told you guys I kind of prefer Sunday versus Saturday because it gets you out of the fray, so to speak, and puts more attention on your game. But then there's a little thing called the NFL playoffs that we're going head up against. So hopefully that won't deter too many. I think because it is Memphis and because of the gravity of the game, we'll have a good crowd in Bartow.
Lance has told us the outcome of that early game's already decided. So
yeah,
you come out.
Who you got, LT?
No, I think Baltimore might be the best team right now in the NFL, but the NFL wants Taylor Swift and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They really do. And they are manipulating this. They've got this ref, Sean Smith, who, if you look at against the spread numbers on road teams to home teams, it is night and day.
I brought it up. I'm sorry I brought it up.
He brought it up.
I apologize to the listeners. I would say this, though. I'm going to tell you who else wants the Chiefs in the championship game, and that's old Patrick Mahomes. He's pretty good.
Yeah, you bet.
He is.
He's pretty good.
All right. As Dunaway said, Sunday, Bartow Classic. They're at Bartow Arena.
4 o'clock, right? 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock tip. I think there's like 1,500 tickets available. I mean, this is getting to be close to real. You typically there's going to be a little bit of a walk up. So get your tickets now. Let's create a little more magic back in Bartow.
Yeah, 975 UAB1 or UABsports.com to get the tickets. Good luck, Coach. We look forward to talking to you about a win over Memphis next week.
Hey, the hat crew, all 4 of us. Is this the first time?
Maybe so.
Yeah.
It was raining this morning.
Omen,
I went hat. It was raining this morning. I like yours.
Well, I just think it's a good omen, and the bad guys always wear black, so me and LT are representing. Black hats versus white hats.
I think I'm better looking bald now.
By the way, I think that's accurate.
I only speak the truth, guys.
Thank you, AK.
See you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, that is Andy Kennedy on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, presented by Legacy Credit Union.
Yeah, Legacy Credit Union, the home of that low-interest balance transfer on a credit card, 2.9% APR. Get details at LegacyCreditUnion.com. LegacyCreditUnion.com, a proud supporter of UAB athletics. Looking forward to that game on Sunday with Memphis and UAB. Forgot Javon Quinterly was there.
I had kind of myself haven't watched a ton of Memphis until he brought up JQ, and then
watched him this past week against Tulane.
Yeah,
and it's
like
typical Memphis.
JQ?
Yeah, he does. But typical Memphis team where these dudes look like, where did you? It's a bunch of defensive ends.
Yeah, Penny can coach though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a good job there in Memphis. Better than Pastor did.
Can recruit.
Pastner on the desk last night. I was telling somebody that is one of the worst coaches ever.
Can you believe they gave him that job after Cal had? I mean, Cal had him in a national championship game, and they handed it to Josh Pastner.
Went down after that. Alabama a winner last night over Auburn, but it's time to move forward. Auburn didn't go back home, by the way. They're off to Starkville, and they're going to spend the time on the road, not back to the campus. Getting ready for the weekend game there. Alabama home to LSU, UAB on Sunday. We're back with you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Big basketball weekend for Auburn to bounce back, for Alabama to stay hot. Auburn on the road, Bama at home. We'll talk a little basketball later on, including what's happened to Juwan Howard. Maybe the hottest seat of a good job out there right now. A little college basketball later. Of course, the NFL championship weekend's coming up. We'll get into that with Todd Fuhrman, who joins our show at 10:25 today, about halfway through hour number 2. Alabama head basketball coach Nate Oats on the show today. He'll join us at 11:45 to wrap up our show, sort of right where you just heard Andy Kennedy from yesterday's show if you were listening to us on the replay. We are 211 days away from week 0. I want to put it in the in rewind, Rockstar. I want to back it up, Terry. Can you give me a little bit of that?
But put it in reverse, Terry.
I'm a little sick. I can't.
What you doing?
Yeah, because yesterday LT in passing said, I got a friend who was on a flight in Memphis with 3 kids from Ole Miss and said blah, 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 blah. Can you tell that story again for those that missed it yesterday?
Yeah, so one of my good buddies was flying back home. He now lives in Denver, and he was boarding a flight from Memphis. He said some big dudes got on the flight. He actually gave me a couple of their names.
Oh, I got him here.
Okay, well, I didn't feel comfortable coming out with it, but he said they were.
I got him here, and by the way, he was 100% right with this story. Go ahead.
He said they had Washington gear, but also Ole Miss gear. He had a conversation with them. They said, hey, we were formerly Washington players, but the money thrown at us was a little too much. We are now hotty-toddy, all Ole Miss.
Okay, give me the reaction.
And they were just going back to Seattle. So they were going from Memphis, Denver to Seattle, get their stuff, and come back.
Well, hotty-toddy couldn't get them a direct to Seattle?
So here are the
put them on the school plane.
Here are the players, 2 offensive linemen, Washington, Ole Miss. Nate Kalepo is the guy. Big number 71, you see he could take up 2 seats, LT at 325. And another guy, Julius Burlow, also probably the other guy on that flight, a guard. He, too, both those Washington guys verbally commit to Ole Miss yesterday. There was one other guy who may have been on that trip. He was a safety. I don't know if he was big enough to get into this conversation. Washington guy, Asa Turner, a safety. He goes to the Florida Gators. But also another SEC team for this Washington program that has been raked through like Alabama's has, maybe to a little bit more of a degree, the exit there. Any concern, or is there a reason why these guys you think are at Ole Miss other than the money and not in Tuscaloosa or at Florida? I mean, safety, you lost Caleb Downs, but I would assume you like the recruits you got. Asa's only got 1 year, but the big offensive lineman, that seemed to be a place that you would always go upgrade if you can get them, or depth or anything. But these guys like Ole Miss over Bama in this situation. I don't know if Bama offered them or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a couple of little points from what he sent me. This is Wednesday at 3:43. On a flight heading back to Denver from Memphis, 3 monsters just boarded. Noticed on the back of one of the guys, University of Washington players badge, Ole Miss just cherry-picked all 3 of them. They're going to Seattle to grab their shit and come back to Ole Miss. Dante Kalepo is the guy I'm talking to, still on the Washington roster. Just talked to him. They said they just got paid. They love the board, but Ole Miss is paying really good.
Yeah, they love the board. Yeah,
that's the way the game works now, right?
Little information.
It really is.
Little information there from yesterday, but that gets me to Ole Miss here. It all works out really well. Yesterday I saw a tweet, and I don't know if we'll have it up or not.
Was it from Kiffin?
It wasn't from Kiffin. It was about Ole Miss's spending.
Okay.
All right. And they,
of course we're going to have it up.
Forrester has it ready to go here. 2023 fiscal year, football made a $12.3 million profit.
Okay.
Men's basketball at Ole Miss lost $3.6 million.
May I call a quick timeout? Do you know if that includes buyouts for like Kermit Davis and stuff like that?
It's got to.
It's Ole Miss's official budget. So whoever,
it's got to include the buyouts.
If they paid the buyouts, yes.
Okay.
If the boosters are taken care of. But this is what actually was on the books. They hired a coach.
That's right. Probably had to pay a buyout.
Yeah,
well, no, Chris Beard didn't come with a buyout.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. They hired a coach.
Yep.
Women's basketball lost $8.3 million.
Not stunned at that number.
Yeah, that's just amazing how, look, and I know we've got Title IX out there, But if that's at Ole Miss, I mean, across the FBS women's basketball, I mean, what do you think the total number is?
I would imagine UConn turns a profit, South Carolina turns a profit,
LSU probably does
LSU
now.
now. Baylor did before that coach left. Tennessee probably did back in the day with Pat Summitt. I bet there's
No, but I'm just saying it might be $1 billion in losses.
Oh, I have no idea. Yeah, I would have no idea. But there's probably 10 programs that turn a profit.
But not to get caught in the weeds here, but Ole Miss is spending, as they were saying, a ton of money, but that's coming from your boosters, NIL. And I just wonder how much donations to the athletic department and stuff, and it's going to put into jeopardy women's basketball and all. Like baseball is about as big as you can get in the country at Ole Miss. A national champion 2 years ago, Ole Miss, Mississippi State sells out all the time. They made $166,000 profit.
So let me tell you though, and I know what you're saying, Scott. Leave that up there real quick, because if this were a media company, we've worked in a media company, right?
Right.
And these were radio stations, and one of them was profiting $12 million, and the other ones were losing. You know where they would cut?
Yeah.
They would cut from the one that's profiting $12 million to make up the losses.
Yep.
For the ones that are losing $3 million and $8 million. And barely getting by, right? That's what they would do.
Yeah, because those programs aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right now, there's laws that says I cannot cut the biggest loser.
But you know what those media companies are also doing that are making those decisions? Filing for bankruptcy because they're stupid companies. So my point is, if football is the one that's making $12 million, I'm finding every way possible to pump every dollar I can into football in hopes that I turn that $12 million into 18 or 20 million,
including
new players.
The NIL buying a lot of players to make our football team good. Because if our football team's good, we're going to profit more.
That's right.
Because we've got to profit more right now to make up for women's basketball, and that doesn't get into track or anything else that's going on that are technically, what do they call them, Olympic sports. It costs a lot of money to run an athletic department. Period. And now you're factored in NIL and the building races that are going on to keep up with buildings and facilities and stuff.
Yeah, I had a call with somebody that wants to get into the business, and it's one of my fraternity brother's daughters, and she's a junior at Clemson. And so she was talking about the experience on covering events, and she was like, we started covering gymnastics because it's new at Clemson. And I was just thinking to myself, why would you bring in one of these sports that is not going to make money?
Probably to balance out the scholarships in a male sport somewhere. Yeah. You probably either cut a sport and had to add another one, or you want to add a men's sport, so you also have to balance out the women's scholarships. That would be my guess. I don't know.
They may have cut, which sport they had, gymnastics, they may have cut
rowing or something like that. Yeah,
both went rowing there.
I know. Isn't that weird that we did that? Or they wanted to add a men's,
Did you see the boys in the boat last night?
I did not. I kind of want to see that, though. I've heard it's really good.
I got noticed. It looks like a Disney.
Well, I think it is a Disney, isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know.
Do you know? Does Lunsford know? I think it is a Disney movie.
No, it's a movie on crewing. It's over in Oxford, was it?
It's Amazon.
Amazon?
Yeah.
Oh, is it on Amazon? So I don't even have to go to the theater? Oh, that's a win. I was told by someone that
watch 7 instead.
You could watch it with your kids, and that their kids enjoyed it. So yeah, I think it's a good family movie.
Our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing brings you the show here. We'll get back into what we talked about yesterday that was really interesting, conspiracy theories. Apparently, LT not the only one. And there's more than one.
And I got
but let me tell you about Storm Restoration Roofing first, and then we'll get all into it. Do a whole rest of the segment here. Storm Restoration Roofing. We'll do a whole roof inspection. Somebody told me yesterday they had Greg out just recently, actually a little further out than I thought Greg went. Drove a long way to give him a free, no-cost roof inspection. And I said, so how was it? He goes, best guy ever. And absolutely, it was a free, no-cost roof inspection. And Greg will take care of you too. 205-542-3531. 205-542-3531 for that free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. He's working right now for a few weeks on another client, and I got an email from her, and she says, I just wanted to tell you that my insurance company, I'm not going to name which one, is going to pay 80% to replace my roof. Greg thinks they should pay 100%. And he is fighting really hard with my insurance provider to try to get me 100%. That's the kind of guy he is. That's all from the customers who are our listeners. Greg Nelson, Storm Restoration Roofing, right there. Greg from Pell City on Facebook. Before I have what I prepared here, what were you going to add about yesterday?
No, I was just going to say, this is from an article, and I did a little, deep dive on Warren Sharp, the guy that actually brought these numbers up, and he is a guy that has run a website on analytics and on gambling for a long, long time. And I didn't say it was fixed. What I am saying is the NFL 1,000% wants Kansas City in the Super Bowl. So what are they going to do? They're going to go through and they're going to look at all their crews, and they're going to look at what gives Kansas City the best chance.
Well, we need to catch up, everybody, on what, if they weren't here yesterday, Sean Smith is the guy's name. And
yes,
a lot of stats that LT gave you yesterday, but one of them was that 59.2% of the time the away team, Kansas City in this case, wins the game. He's on the Chiefs-Ravens game. I would ask you one thing on your ratings. They want Taylor Swift in there. Up until this point, I will agree with you. But does the Super Bowl ever hurt for numbers?
No, but I mentioned that yesterday. It won't help the TV rating, but the social media numbers will be through the roof.
Yeah. The merchandise will probably be twice as much as you would normally sell. Yeah. I mean, I saw Foister back there say, look, I kind of hope it happens because my youngest will watch it with me. There's going to be, I don't know, 10 more, 15 more million people that will watch a Super Bowl?
My daughter, who's now at home with me for a few months, asked me this morning. She was eating some egg bites. And I said, did you cook those? And she's like, they're from Trader Joe's. And then she goes, hey, when does the Chiefs play? I said, Sunday. Why? Do I need to help you with something? Because they usually ask me, is there a big game tonight or tomorrow to where I don't mess up Dad's schedule? And she goes, no, I just want to make sure I watch it in case they show Taylor.
No, it's a real thing. Yeah. Like my youngest daughter is 10.
Right.
She can name for you 3 NFL players. If you said, Hallie, give me 3 NFL players.
I was going to go Tua,
Jalen Waddle,
and Travis Kelce. Yeah, I was going to go Tua because of your family and Travis Kelce.
Yep, Tua.
I would have never got the third one.
Tua, Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle's her favorite Dolphin. Tua, Jalen Waddle, and Travis Kelce.
Tell them why Waddle's the favorite Dolphin.
She likes the dance.
Yeah.
She likes the dance he does when he scores. Yeah, the Waddle. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I don't know how you can look at this and say that the NFL is not manipulating what they're doing here. I don't know how you can look at it and say
it's fixed.
Well, I'm not saying it's fixed.
Well, but if you manipulate an outcome, it's fixed.
Yeah, if you're manipulating one team wins, then that's fixed.
Here's the thing. They look at the analytics of how this guy calls a game, and because he is more favorable to road teams for whatever, and it's not even close when you look at the numbers, they've got him heading up this crew.
Okay, here is another thing that would be fixed the other side of what LT is saying, brought to you by Aaron Rodgers, who brought this to everyone's attention yesterday. So LT and Aaron Rodgers' headspace about the same.
This is worlds colliding here.
Yeah. NFL logos, if you've been paying attention to them lately, they have been designed color-wise.
I've seen this.
To the teams and they're designed way in advance, but it starts with Bengals and Rams a few years ago, and the Super Bowl logo, which is put out before that, ends up being the 2 teams that played there. And then last year, Eagles and Kansas City. And this year, the 2 colors in the Super Bowl logo happen to match our 2 number 1 seeds.
So now we're in a situation where no matter who wins the AFC Championship game, it's part of a conspiracy.
No, but here's the thing. I mean, look, you could go with the Chiefs color too, right?
Yeah, but
then the purple's not in there.
No, I mean, you could say that's kind of a really dark blue.
Okay, you could say that. But, I mean, to Lance's point,
this is much more ridiculous than what I'm bringing up.
That's more ridiculous?
Dunaway, I know you got a mud puddle education, okay?
Wow.
But you've got
that's
to.
That's not personal. Come on, man. My education?
You have got to look at this. They have got all of these different crews they could have brought on. Why would you bring the one that favors the home team?
Because they grade them out over the course of the year, and the best ones get the playoffs.
Are you going to have the same energy on this Monday? If we come in here and the Ravens got an incredible break at the end and win the game, you're going to have the same energy?
I told you this. I think the Ravens are a 14-point better team than Kansas City on a given Sunday.
Right.
I'm just saying the NFL is doing what they can to make this an opportunity for Kansas City to win this game.
But if you answer my question, if the Ravens catch an incredible break from the officials and win this game, are you going to have the same energy and say, hey, I was wrong on that?
I mean, just because of one call doesn't make you wrong,
At the
does it?
very end, yes. But based on what you're saying the Chiefs
I don't
are going to get the
understand what you
calls.
guys aren't understanding.
I don't understand why you can't see that. You're saying
No.
the Chiefs are going to get the calls.
No, I'm saying based on his history,
Right.
the NFL assumes the Chiefs have a better chance of getting these calls. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get the calls.
But do you
And
know
I said this yesterday. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win the game.
You said it the other day, the Ravens don't need to expect to get any calls down the stretch. So you don't feel that way?
No, I feel like this crew gives the road team a better advantage.
Okay,
That's
so
what I said.
you don't think. I want to be clear about this because you've said something different.
These are numbers. This is fact,
I'm
Brown.
not asking
This
about
is
facts
fact.
and numbers. I'm asking
Facts.
Lance, man, back down. I'm just asking you this question.
I don't know. We'll see.
You don't know what? I hadn't
If
even
I'm
asked
gonna
the
come in
question
with this
yet.
interview, you just asked
no,
me.
I'm asking you a different question if you'll
Okay.
listen. Do you think that the Ravens are going to get all the calls? I mean, the Chiefs are going to get all the calls down the stretch?
I don't know.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know. So you
I
don't
know.
think that? You don't think
I
that
just
they're-
know based on his body of
Right.
work over the entire season, he is by far the official that benefits the road
But
team.
you don't think the officials have been given marching orders like, hey, listen, if
No.
it's tight down the stretch,
No,
okay.
I do
I'm
not
just
think
trying
that's
to
happened.
clarify this.
That's
I'm not,
all I'm saying is
Yeah.
like by no means there is no way this is too big of a business. But I think the NFL took a deep dive, and what do we need to do in the offseason? We need to bring in younger millennials. This Taylor Swift thing, they're absolutely loving. What gives Kansas City the best opportunity to get to a Super Bowl? Sean Smith.
Right. Okay. So, but just to be clear, you're not saying there's like marching orders. They're going to get calls down the stretch. You just think they picked a favorable crew.
I would not be surprised
Right.
if they get calls down the stretch.
Okay.
But I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying the NFL has put Kansas City in the best position to be able to pull off an upset.
Brown, while LT tells you about Redmont, would you look Pro Harbaugh Ravens
Pardon?
conspiracy? Pro Harbaugh Ravens number 34 conspiracy.
What the hell are you talking?
Just Google this.
Harbaugh
Ravens
number
34
Raven. Gosh, this is so weird.
34.
I feel like I'm in a dream.
conspiracy.
Conspiracy. Okay, go.
And see what pops
All right,
up.
Lance Redmont.
Do you have one? Did it
I
pop
got
up?
it. I got it right here. Okay.
And
Redmont
for the
vodka.
record, I have never been like we laugh about conspiracy theories up here. We had on the dude's brother Jethro, whatever.
Cousin brother Matt.
Yeah.
Jethro.
And Lunsford was the one that said Britney Spears is dead. I've never been a big conspiracy theorist. The way this is shoved in our face, the way numbers have gone up, you can't tell me that your Dolphins and the Chiefs weren't on Peacock for a reason.
Oh, 100% they were. Now, that's not a conspiracy. That's just good business.
Side note, Peacock lost $2.5 billion this past year.
Yeah, but they added, I think the estimate was 3 million subscriptions for the Dolphins Chiefs game. No, that was just good business. That's not a conspiracy at all. That was abundantly clear what they were doing. You admit that's good business, right?
I think they lost just under $1 billion in the fourth quarter.
I mean,
I'm not in the fourth
The
quarter of the
fourth
game.
quarter of the game.
Fourth quarter of the fiscal
I mean,
year.
No, it's good business.
Well, I mean, bringing in money, but the PR, I mean, the shitstorm they took there, I don't know. I mean, it kind of balances out. Is it good business? I don't know.
I think it was. I mean, they took care of a big-time broadcast partner.
When I think, though, Peacock, I think money grab.
It was 100% a money grab. But a
did
lot of
you-
business
you
doing
did
money. He
Redmont,
did
right?
not. I've got it ready to go here.
Okay, tell us about Redmont.
8 times distilled, gluten-free, locally owned and operated. Charles Barkley, one of the great faces behind it. If you're out this weekend, pick up a bottle. If you're at a local bar or restaurant, ask for it by name. Available in 22 states. It is Redmont Vodka.
All right, what is it, Brownie? What is the conspiracy theory? Because according to Bleacher Report, the 4 biggest conspiracy theories in the NFL going into this weekend, number 1, dating back to mid-season Taylor Swift TV ratings.
Okay.
Number 2 was the Super Bowl logo one Aaron
Right.
Rodgers brought up yesterday. And number 3 was the Sean Smith head referee 52.9% away team winning. And number 4 is there's a Pro Harbaugh Ravens one about the number 34.
Well, what does 34 play into this?
I don't
Can
know.
you
It just
explain
says
to me?
about the number 34.
All right. 2002, Jack Harbaugh's Western Kentucky Hilltoppers won their first 1AA championship, defeating McNeese State 34-14.
So they scored 34 points. Okay.
2013, John Harbaugh's Baltimore Ravens beat the Jim Harbaugh-led San Francisco 49ers 34-31 in the Super Bowl.
34-31. So 34 in both of those.
2024, Jim Harbaugh's Michigan Wolverines beat Washington 34-13 to win college football playoff.
Oh, no. So 34. If they score 34 points, they're winning the game. It's happened 3 other times in history.
Okay, so again, now we have we've set ourselves up so that no matter who wins the NFC Championship game, there was a conspiracy involved.
That's right. We've got a color, a number,
I know, and a referee.
LT's cousin Cliff.
Again, I'm just saying it purely is like valid numbers. Like I'm not making anything up.
You're not making the numbers up. You're just saying that the
is
NFL
such a discrepancy between Sean Smith, the against the spread number, the overall winning percentage, road team to home team. It's not even close. Him with any other head official.
But you're just saying the NFL is 100% aware of these numbers and specifically chose him because of those numbers. That's what you're saying.
I do think that, yes.
Yeah, he will not be part of a neutral site Super Bowl coming up in Las Vegas. We'll find out who goes to the Super Bowl on Sunday when we get the opportunity to sit back and enjoy a big NFL weekend that includes Kansas City and Baltimore in the first game at 2 o'clock on CBS in Baltimore, 5:30 in San Francisco on Fox, Lions and the 49ers. Deebo Samuels did practice yesterday, which is a big deal for San Francisco, still listed as questionable in that contest. When we come back, the unbelievable gambling story of former LSU great Kayshon Boutte. We will talk a little bit about that. The show being brought to you by New York Butcher Shop. Tell us about New York Butcher, LT.
Friday night, which means I'm going to go see my friend Jim. I'm not sure which location he's at right now, the original in Cava Heights. There is obviously the new one right there, Greystone Highway 119. Going to pick up some of those delicious steaks. He's got the best in certified Angus prime beef. The burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, all natural chicken cut to order just for you. They've got incredible side dishes, perfect dinner-to-go choice for you and your family, ready to eat at home with a great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop, 2 locations, Cava Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. New York Butcher Shop, well quality, well done service.
The NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah and Ryan Brown. DJ Football Weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent Trane dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
For more than 40 years, Red Wing Shoes has been helping the hardworking people of Alabama. This is why Red Wing Shoes has created the 3-step comfort solution. Step 1, a certified fit specialist will use a 3D scan to electronically measure your feet and arches. Step 2, the fit specialist helps you get the appropriate footwear for your occupation. Step 3, customize your boot or shoe with a Red Wing orthotic. Whether you have a high arch or flat feet, Red Wing has comfort solutions for you. So experience comfort at its best. Visit one of the Red Wing shoe stores located in Pelham or Trussville. The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali. Hey, Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to The Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
I don't know if it's the weekend or what, but I saved a couple of newsletters because Little T and I were on the road, what was that, Wednesday night to Tuscaloosa, so not a lot of time to read on Thursday morning for this. So I have so many of these weird tidbits before Brownie tells us about JohnstonRVCenter.com. Still frozen today, which I guess is a good thing because he paid for it. But the first cryogenically frozen person, James Bedford, still frozen, not alive. No one's been brought back from cryogenic, well, what's it called? Chronology?
Being cryogenically frozen.
Nobody's been frozen and brought back to life today.
So who was this old boy?
His name was James Bedford. He had terminal cancer. 1967. He's been frozen since 1967.
Well, but what was he doing? Why was he important?
He had just had a lot of money.
Oh, so he was
that's all
wealthy.
it takes.
Yeah.
He had a
Well,
lot of
I
money.
didn't know if he was important to society. So we're like, let's try to bring this one back.
No.
Because Walt Disney's frozen too, and he's
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, am I right about that? Right?
I thought just his head.
Ted Williams and Walt Disney.
Yeah, Ted Williams and Walt Disney.
All you needed was your head.
Yeah, but it was just the head, right?
Yeah, it's like on a tuna can.
Yeah, I don't know if James's whole body is frozen or just his head. But 1967.
And technically, Austin Powers came back from being frozen.
Yeah, still frozen. So I guess technically they're not in breach of the contract yet because there's probably no end date yet. But I guess you have to just keep them. They're having to pay expenses on a lab.
Well, like occasionally Jennifer cleans out the fridge and just throws a bunch of stuff away. Like at what point do you say, yeah, we were wrong about being able to do this?
It depends on what's in the fine print of that contract. But if it's like a state bet, we'd have put something on some of them in the end by 2027 or before Jim's 65th birthday or something.
You know what's
like
going to
that.
happen is one day, like one of his great-great-great-grandchildren is going to get a phone call.
Hey.
And they're going to be like, hey, we unfroze your granddad, your great-great-great-great-granddad. And guess what? He died right after that, but he left everything he owned in the will and
to you.
Now you're a trillionaire.
Yeah. Actually not. You are a trillionaire, but there's also this build of 2 point.
Yes. These things don't stay frozen for free.
That's right. And electricity is through the roof. Tell us about JohnstonRVCenter.com.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center. Now, listen, you're going to hear a lot about RV shows. I'm going to tell you about a few. But you don't have to wait. Johnston RV Center says you don't have to wait for the show. If you can't make one of these shows, RV show every day right there on the lots. Great floor plans from Forest River. They have arrived there at Johnston RV Center. If you're looking for a travel trailer, fifth wheel, toy hauler, motorhome, Johnston RV has what you need. Now, to the shows. February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Von Braun Civic Center in Huntsville. If you're in that area of the country, you want to see them there. February 23rd, 24th, 25th, down at the BJCC in Birmingham. Like everything, when you buy it there, it's covered by a lifetime warranty. If it's brand new or under 2 years of age used, covered by a lifetime warranty at Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and always online at JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Did I just do 5 minutes on somebody being frozen in 1967? Did I get a comment from you on that? Do you believe that people pay that money to be frozen?
Do I believe they do? Yes.
I mean,
do I believe
do you
there's a
understand
reason?
it?
No. Yeah, I mean, people think that with scientific advances, one day we're going to be able to bring these, I guess we're going to be able to reincarnate a body or...
Is that something we're working on, though? I mean, somewhere in the lab, are we spending money on that?
No, I think the reason you freeze the head, right, is that you think you're going to be able to pull something out of the brain.
You have all your memories intact and you reanimate them. And
yeah,
just
your
like
body's
say-
no good to you anyway.
But
That's
all
right.
my friends and family are dead. Here I am in 2095, and wow, this is great.
But they don't think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, Rockstar, they don't think they're going to be able to take Walt Disney's head and sew it onto somebody else's torso and have Walt Disney again, right?
I don't know.
But isn't that the poor little dirty things or whatever you guys were telling me about the movie? Isn't that basically they took somebody's brain and put it into somebody's body?
Yeah, Poor Things. I mean, that's a very fantastical movie, but yes, basically.
It is a fantastic movie.
It is a fantastic. I'm saying fantastical, like it's all just.
It's fantasy.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
In
Aladdin had a
fantasy
lamp.
world, Frankenstein exists. I mean,
Aladdin got a lamp and he had 3 wishes, so that's kind of cool.
yeah.
But like if we found somebody that was brain dead and we took Walt Disney's brain and put it in that person, in theory, they become Walt Disney, right? Like they've got all the creativity of Disney. They've got all his thoughts.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you sell one of your relatives that was brain dead if you could bring Walt Disney back in his body and you get, I don't know, 10%?
Financially, I would have no problem with that deal, Lance. I think we're probably crossing some
Demonic lines?
Some
not
moral-
demonic, but some moral lines that I wouldn't want to cross there.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you guys would feel, but if my kids, if I could draw it up and if I was to go down soon, Disney could have my body if you give my kids 10% of your money. I got no problem with
And
that.
free park passes.
I don't even know if they want the park passes anymore. Let's take the cash.
All I need a lifetime fast pass, please.
Yes, always front of the line.
That's right.
Whenever I'm there at Disney, again, I'm the worst negotiator ever. Let's and maybe I'm not the worst gambler ever,
Oh my gosh.
but I don't frequent the window as much as Kayshon Boutte did back in the day.
Incredible.
Man, he was averaging, and I did the math this morning on this. So this is a guy that placed, 9,000 bets in roughly 13 months.
Yeah.
So he was betting 23 different wagers a day for 13 straight months.
Can I just tell you what I think happened here? Is that Kayshon Boutte was the center man for a group of friends that were placing a lot of bets at the same time.
Yeah, there's
is what
no way.
it feels like, right?
No way he was doing it all himself. And again, I don't know why people are in an uproar because he was 20. You got to be 21. Like if he was drinking 9,000 beers, that might be a little different if he was drinking 23 beers a day for 13 months.
That's a lot of beer.
But, I mean, this is just, I can't wait to see what the NFL does because this was all on his watch in Baton Rouge, it seemed. He never bet against himself. I've always said that was why I never really had a problem with the Pete Rose thing because he never bet against himself.
He bet for himself. Brownie
That did not go well.
Brownie explains now the weirdest night I remember watching LSU football.
That's right. It was the Superdome game, 2022 season against Florida State. He bet over 89, or I think 81 yards receiving and a touchdown. He had 20 receiving yards, 0 touchdowns.
And very
was
few
visibly.
very few targets.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels was not throwing him the football, and he was visibly upset on the sideline. Like, it became a huge storyline in that
Yes.
game, if you remember. Like, man, Kayshon Boutte's mad. Everybody's like, he ain't getting the ball. Well, it wasn't just he ain't getting the ball. He ain't getting the ball, and he ain't cashing a bet.
Well, the bad thing there is how many of his friends did he say, hey, look, I'm heavily involved in the game plan? I mean,
Yeah.
he had to have thought that he
That's
was
right.
getting a ton of touches.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got eight friends, we'll say, that have all kicked in, or if you got the money from boosters that kicked in, however it plays out, and you're making these bets, and if Kayshon's involved in it, if I'm one of the guys who's my money's in on this, I'm like, yeah, I'll bet on Kayshon too. I think surely we're going to target him. I'm in practice.
I mean, if
every
I
week.
would have called you guys and said, look, I've got a friend that's on the staff at LSU, and he has heard from some of the players that Kayshon has put X amount of money on himself to go over 7.5 receptions tonight, I mean, I'd feel pretty good about playing that. Would you not?
Yeah, because they've been in practice.
But I will say most of the time I get inside information.
I was about to say.
Never works.
Yeah, you say that a lot. That when you get the behind the scenes guy, it never pans out. Does it?
I will say, though, that I was checking out this. He's a reputable handicapper, and he says that Kayshon made over $500,000 in the last 13 months.
No, that was winnings.
Okay, we don't know what. So what are the
we
losses?
do know what the losses were. He himself put in a total of $130,000 out of his pocket,
Or somebody's pocket.
or out of someone's pocket. All right, Kayshon Boutte put in $130,000. His total winnings were $500,000, most of which he reinvested into other bets.
Okay.
He only cashed out a total of $50,000. So all told, he lost $81,000 over 2 years.
So
or
he's
13 months.
Roughly, I'm just doing this math on the fly, $50 a wager.
That's exactly right.
That's what the math I did. Yeah. So I mean,
Which
they
is
were
pretty
massive,
Yeah, I mean, that's not a big deal.
but there were a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger deal is he's maybe a degenerate, and he's got what we would call a gambling problem.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you this. Let me ask you this, and this would be smart on Kayshon Boutte's part. Let's say he has the account now, right? But fraternity boys who don't have the account are paying me, which is why I would have 22, 23 bets a day on average. Lance is, we'll call a Pi Kappa Alpha, and he comes walking up to me and he's like, "Yeah, I hear you're taking bets for people. Here's, and he takes a little off of their top, a little off the top, and spins it around, basically running book through that site."
That's a lot of effort for a guy that's about to play in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think you'd run it through the site. I think you would just hold it.
You'd hold it?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you'd have to have some sort of education in the whole gambling game to know that that's better, though, right?
I think he was more about the action and less about actually making money with this. I could be completely wrong, but that's the way it seems. If you're betting $50 a game and you're betting that much, I'll be interested to see what the NFL does, if anything.
Yeah.
Because doesn't it seem like all this was on LSU's watch?
It all was, yeah.
But if you read, there's one count is a felony charge, and they do have a rule in the NFL about being charged with a felony.
But think about how silly this felony is. I mean, there's a lot of felonies. There's remember, felony was or I guess it was a federal crime, knocking down a mailbox, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying that by their rule, it is a felony on one count. If he knows he did this, that probably is there to scare him into taking a plea offer, something less.
I think if this is Calvin Ridley, it's a bigger deal because he was playing in the NFL, and we know their rules on this.
And he got suspended, a whole year?
But don't forget, you cannot place any bet, NFL or not, from an NFL facility. So if the NFL starts to look at that and finds out he did that,
but it looks like
suspended.
The bets were only through May of last year, and he was drafted in May of last year. So I don't know if he was ever around the facility or if he was even at that particular point a New England Patriot.
Right, but I'm sure the NFL is looking into his recent action to see if he started back gambling again. He was not hiding his identity, by the way. Both of his usernames included the words Kayshon and Boutte.
Yeah. The only part that's a story to me is it was that amount, like 23 bets a day for 13 months. Outside of that, I just, like if this was, he placed 100 wagers over the last year, I just don't think this is a story at all. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I think that in the money. I mean, when you see $81,000 in losses for a college student, that's a pretty shocking number.
It is, but when you bet that many times, it's going to balance out.
No doubt.
Yeah, that whole last season, G. Wilson is right. He looked out of shape and really lost a step. Didn't seem to get as much playing time that year until late in the year.
You remember, a lot of people thought he was coming to Alabama.
It took him a while to crank up.
Yeah.
Now he's with the Patriots, so he's in the NFL. He's making a little bit of money.
Barely.
But, I've got buddies that they'll wager $100,000 in a weekend on games, on a full college slate in NFL Sunday, but they're betting $1,000 a game, or $2,000 a game. So
did you say 100,000 though?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot, but if you might lose a couple of $1,000 on juice, or you're a couple of games under 500. But you could look at it and you'd be like, damn, he lost $100,000 this week, and well, he won $110,000.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot because that is a lot of money.
I mean, that's a lot to have gamble. But I mean, if you're worth $10 million, there is a scale there, right?
But if you went back and you looked at your mybookie.ag account over the year, you'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe I wagered that much. But it doesn't seem like, because you're winning, you're losing, you're winning, you're losing. If you lost everything or won everything, it would be more magnified.
Yeah. To your point is, I have no idea how much I've wagered since I opened the account right at the start of football season. I just know I'm $9 up from what I put in originally.
So, I mean, he lost a little more than half of what he put in. If he put in $130,000 and cashed out $81,000, he lost roughly half of what he put in.
That's the bottom line. The rest of it is stats. The final score is he put in $130,000 and he got out $50,000. He lost $81,000.
Yeah.
That's the final score. The rest of it's just passing percentages and all that.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a story outside of the fact. I think they are the fact that he was 20. Again, I would equate this to a 20-year-old college student drinking.
Yeah. By the way, this number is, but if you look at the research in America, that number that he is betting is probably right on par with a lot of average college students.
You're talking about per bet, the $50?
$50 and probably the total bets that are made. I mean, you have a lot of gambling going on with college-age boys.
So we had carbon copies.
Some girls in Tuscaloosa, Auburn, Knoxville, Baton Rouge, everywhere.
This is old school. When we booked, it was before websites. Everybody that is a bookmaker out there, they've got their own website now. So it's 24/7. Everything's taken care of. It would be a lot less of a headache, but we had carbon copies. And so 503 would call in, and he would bet $25 on Maryland, $25 on Penn State, and $25 on LSU. We pull it apart. 503 here, the yellow. 503 here, the pink. We'd have two. So we would have two piles you would grade, and then if you had a discrepancy, I had 503 up $713. Well, I had him only up $503. We'd go back, take his cards, and see what we missed on. So, but my ultimate point was going to be, I remember writing up more 25s and 50s, and that's 30 years ago.
Yeah, that is. I think 50 now is going to be a very average medium line bet.
Yeah, or $100, 50 to 100. It used to be 25 to 50.
Yeah, that's a good point there. Positive notes here. This is another sign that there is some, some signs of firewalls here, some ways to sort of prevent some illegal action happening from a player in a game. You see, this is another, we've seen it a lot in the NFL recently, of guys who are not supposed to be betting getting caught. And another thing here, LSU says that they were made aware of it in July of 2023. They've been cooperating all through the process. And the third thing is that Kayshon Boutte, if it was not a legalized gambling situation, forget his age, but with the way we do gambling in America now online, you got to have that money up front first in order to place that bet. In the old days, he would have gotten way behind the eight ball.
Well, who was he playing with? Did it say the sports book?
It did not say the sports book.
Okay, well, see, here's another thing. I said that
gambling is legal if you're 21 and over in Louisiana.
Yeah, the only law he broke was being underage.
Underage,
yeah.
right.
Okay, then he was probably using a legal sports book. What I was going to say is, I just said that all of these bookmakers have their own websites, but those guys, you don't have to have the money up front. It's still
That's
the
right.
old school way.
Yeah.
So although it's online and you can get it 24/7, you're still, a lot of these guys are Venmoing now. You can Venmo or meet, settle up, that kind of thing.
Our friends at Odie's bringing you part of the show tomorrow night. Rockstars in concert at Odie's, is that right?
Will's Dayton Rockstar featuring Doug will be on the stage tomorrow night with a little stopped-up Rockstar, so you get to hear a little nasally. But
is there an artist you lean towards when you're nasally?
Acoustic shows, Cat Stevens, 100%, or Glenn Hansard. But that we've done it before. I consistently, having a toddler, am sick for these Odie's shows, but we pull through them, man. We play. Will gets to bang on those drums.
Other than that show Saturday night, always a great place to swing by and get some great food and drink.
Yeah, look, there'll be live music tonight at both locations. And again, Rockstar will be there at the Crestline location tomorrow night, but always live music all weekend long. Both locations, the original in Crestline, the newest in Edgewood, right there in Homewood. Get in, see Will Haver and that great staff. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Great food from Rodney Davis. It is Odie's Tavern.
College football and 4 downs in the next segment. Todd Fuhrman coming up a little bit later on. Just real quickly, congratulations to Steph Curry, who's going to get a chance this summer to win his first Olympic gold medal. Steph Curry never has played in the Olympics, which is mind-boggling to me. But he's going to try to do it. He's going to play 2024 Paris.
Good for him. I'm glad he's doing it.
I mean, I think that's kind of cool to do, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's so different from 1992 when we had that first Dream Team to what you got now. I mean, do you guys even watch
I don't,
the Olympics?
and I won't care, but I do appreciate guys that still play for the team. It's one thing I've always said about Allen Iverson. Say what you want of him, even as the U.S. men's national team was declining, he played every time and played his tail off, and I've always appreciated that.
That's right.
About AI. So I'm glad for Steph Curry. I'm glad he's getting the opportunity. I hope he wins gold.
Yep, I think so too. By the way, LeBron last night passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, officially named to the All-Star team for the 20th time. That is now an NBA record. We are back with college football next on TNR.
Follow LT on Twitter @TheLanceTaylor.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Are you ready for a winning season in your finances? Legacy Credit Union is bringing you a slam dunk deal on their credit cards. Apply for their balance transfer and pay 0 balance transfer fees. That's right, there is no balance transfer fees, and they're offering a jaw-dropping 2.99% APR for the first 6 months. Whether you're looking to clear the cord of those holiday expenses or just wanting to streamline your finances, apply online today, legacycreditunion.com. Annual percentage rate, terms and conditions may apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and our entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Are you guys putting together that topic for later on? If not, okay. I will tell you to add.
But it's got a sports flair, so we're probably not. We're talking Mystery Fifth Hour.
Yeah, we're talking about a topic on the Mystery Fifth Hour. We'll record after the show, but it's too much sports in that one.
Okay.
We try to steer away from the sports.
Well, I'll tell you what. How about this? A free-for-all Friday. If anybody in the chat wants to give us a great, weird topic to do Mystery Fifth Hour, because on the fly, I gave us the topic last week.
Okay. Are we doing a Mystery Fifth Hour today?
We are every Friday.
All right. Oh, every Friday?
Well, I mean, we try to every Friday, yeah. What are you laughing at, Rockstar?
I don't know. I can't laugh.
Well, my God, I'm sorry, Rockstar.
I thought they used to laugh at. I thought they used to be Mondays.
Don't apologize to me.
I thought they were Mondays.
Oh, we've done them on Friday for quite a while now.
Okay. We're looking forward to a Mystery Fifth Hour we'll do today. I was going to say what got exhausting for me, and I think it started in the 90s when Fox really got in sports. Remember how they would put their series stars that were going to be on the new shows in September or in February, they put them in the stands at the games.
Yes, I hated that.
Oh, look, the Party of Five families at the game tonight. Or, oh, no, look, here's
Rob Lowe wearing an NFL hat.
I'll never forget. I didn't know anything about that 70s show, and I've still not seen it. My kids liked it a lot.
Oh, I loved that show.
And I know a couple of those dudes have been canceled since, but I'll never forget. It was a game in San Francisco, and I forgot who was playing the Niners, but this is way back when, probably 25 years ago. You guys tell me when the show debuted. I don't remember. But I remember the entire cast was on the sideline, and I remember I don't remember who the meathead analyst was. Where he's like, I guarantee you, not one of those cast members could do 5 push-ups right now.
Oh, yeah.
Remember him saying that? But it was the entire cast, and I was like, this show will never make it.
Ashton Kutcher could have done 5 push-ups.
He probably could have. Yeah. I've heard he's a really, really good dude behind the scenes. And let me say this:
and he and Mila Kunis married, so and they do a lot of good work.
That theme is wearing me out. I don't, for the record, I like Taylor Swift. I always said that. I think she's very talented. I took my kids to see her in concert. She puts on one of the best concerts I've ever seen. I don't like Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is a blowhard. He is probably my most disliked guy in the NFL based on the fact that Aaron Rodgers isn't playing right now.
Really good, though. Really good.
Oh, he's incredible. He's probably the best tight end I've ever seen play.
Probably having his worst year of his career, though.
Probably, yeah.
Hemp Hill Services bringing you part of the show, and then we'll get to our 4 downs here. Tell us about Hemp Hill.
205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill. Make sure your unit is ready to keep up with this changing weather. Got so hot in the middle of the night last night that I got up and ate cantaloupe. Is that weird?
Oh, I love cantaloupe.
Yeah,
That's not weird at all.
I was like really
so good.
Like thirsty, craving something, but it was that. The temperature difference has been like 40, 50 degrees over the last week.
I had my AC on 1 degree off of what it normally is in the summer last night. We were rolling at a 67 instead of a 66 on the AC last night. But it was chilling when I woke up in the house. Dino Babers, go ahead.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Dino Babers is going to be the offensive coordinator at Arizona, sort of repaying a favor who he was with as a young assistant at Syracuse. Wisconsin has hired Alex Grinch to coach the safeties, the former USC and Oklahoma defensive coordinator.
Look, this is a guy that had success at Ohio State, and in Washington State, more specifically, had a really close relationship with Lincoln Riley. It obviously didn't work out, but I think Alex Grinch is still a really good defensive mind, and I think it's a good get for Luke Fickell.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 downs every day brought to you by Slice. LT, tell us about the great folks at Slice here, the best pizza in the universe.
Yeah, hey, the weekend is here. Get in, see the Bajaya Brothers. Incredible concept. There are 4 locations of Slice now. There's soon to be a 5th. Local pizza, local ingredients from the soul pie, the Bajaya special, the hot mama. You can't go wrong. Check out their menu right now. And don't forget about the $75 carryout, 12 of the fire-baked wings, 2 of the specialty pizzas, half pan of the salad, 7 days a week. All 4 locations. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
I've actually got 5 downs for us.
All right.
Pretty good celebrity birthdays.
Oh, good. My favorite part.
Okay, more total touchdowns Sunday. Pat Mahomes or Lamar Jackson? For the record, Pat Mahomes 3-1 all time against Lamar Jackson.
Passing touchdowns or total?
Just total touchdowns.
Total touchdowns.
This is
and I like Steve Spagnuolo. These are
great defensive coordinator.
Yeah, by the way, the top 2 scoring defenses in the league. Baltimore gives up 16.5 points per game. Kansas City only 17.3 points per game. But over the last 2 years, Kansas City has allowed more rushing touchdowns by a quarterback than anybody else.
I feel like all the pressure in the world is on Lamar Jackson here. He's got this narrative around his career that he cannot win in the postseason. He did win a game already, but that gets forgotten if you lose this one. You're at home with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And I think he's going to deliver under that pressure. So I'll go Lamar Jackson.
Biggest moment in his career.
There's no doubt about that.
I think Mahomes has more touchdowns. I think the Ravens win the game off of Tucker's foot, best field goal kicker. A lot of threes for Baltimore, wins the game. The key matchup to me is, can Chris Jones put the pressure on Lamar Jackson? Patrick Mahomes much better at avoiding sacks than Lamar Jackson is. He gets a lot more sacks, 23rd in the league.
Yeah, he is good at avoiding sacks, but Baltimore leads the league with 60 sacks. I'm going to lean Lamar just because of the legs.
Yeah.
Second down.
More total turnovers Sunday. Jared Goff or Brock Purdy? By the way, first time we've ever seen a number 1 overall against Mr. Irrelevant in the postseason.
Oh, how about that? That's a pretty cool stat.
I mean, how many times does Mr. Irrelevant get a chance to start in the postseason? I would probably say
almost never.
Hey, Mr. Irrelevant's already beaten 3 number 1 overall picks.
That's crazy.
Head.
Anybody seen the forecast in San Francisco?
I have
It's
not.
nice.
It's going to be nice. No,
it's
no
not
rain. No rain?
I don't think there's any, and weather will not be a factor. I'll tell you guys right now, but I saw that earlier this week that it is going to be a clear day in San Francisco.
I'm going to go Goff here, turning it over more. The San Francisco defense is better than the Detroit defense.
Yeah, high of 70, low of 53, sunny on Sunday.
Okay.
And
perfect weather.
When you watch Detroit, go watch Daniel Jeremiah break this game down. Brock breaks it down with Lance at Disrupt the Media. Go get those, go watch those videos at Disrupt the Media on YouTube. Links are below us right here in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or in the description. Daniel Jeremiah, I know with me, does a great job of breaking down San Francisco, forces you to work outside the numbers. That's the only place they basically let you do work. Is Goff going to be patient enough just to take that all game, or is he going to try to get Jamison Williams or Amon-Ra St. Brown down the middle and create one of those.
Yeah, and
turnovers.
how healthy is Frank Ragnow right now?
Yeah.
Your center, who
questionable for the game, expected to play through the pain.
And their offensive line was so good against Tampa. I disagree with how Todd Bowles actually attacked Jared Goff, because Jared Goff under pressure is not a good quarterback.
That's right. Pressure burst pipes. You always have to go after him.
And and a guy like Pat Mahomes is good under pressure, so it's not always like that. But watching Goff back struggle against San Francisco in those days, in San Francisco, this pass rush is going to be much different than what he saw last week.
Yeah, I agree with everything Brown said. Let's move on.
All right.
Third down.
Including all the links and everything below.
Ellen DeGeneres, 66. Better career ultimately, Ellen or Kirby Smart?
Well, it has ended badly for Ellen.
She built an empire.
What are they laughing at? But you got to take into account the way it's ended for her, right?
She still's got that money. Her career of doing those two Pixar movies.
She's completely disappeared.
I thought she was the best interviewer for a good period of time.
Yeah, really good in the afternoons on the afternoon show.
I thought her show was really, really entertaining. Now we find out that she wasn't the person that she was fronted to be.
That's so sad, because she seemed like the type of people we need in this world, right? People that just wanted to give back and be nice to people, and apparently she wasn't that way.
And that sucks.
I know.
But she really gave the money to those people.
She did, but that wasn't who she really was. It was
that's what we call
apparently
a
an
tax
entire
write-off.
act.
She was mean at work.
Yeah, which sucks. I mean, be who you are, right? Just be real.
I'm just wondering, the back row, were y'all laughing because it must have been ridiculous on one side. I thought it was pretty close between the two.
Well, it's just hard to compare Kirby Smart and Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh, I know that.
No, it's just a random comparison.
Yeah. No, it is a random. That's what makes four downs, though. I am going to say Kirby Smart.
Rarely.
Hey, anytime you dick sticks want to do this, you guys have at it.
Do it every Thursday.
Hey, it makes you think. It's just initial reaction.
Okay.
Kirby Smart. You laugh.
I like the laughter.
I'm going with best haircut, Ellen.
Oh, wow.
They've got the same haircut.
Fourth down.
Okay, Paul Newman would have been 99 years old today.
Wait, beat you to it, Bubba Head. Beat you to it. Yeah.
Paul Newman would have been 99.
Yep.
Eddie Van Halen would have been 69. Better career, Paul Newman or Eddie Van Halen?
That's pretty easy to me. Paul Newman, fantastic career. Eddie Van Halen, good career. Paul Newman, fantastic.
I think there are some people that believe Eddie Van Halen, top 5 guitarist of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Boy, this is tight, man. I mean, look, the band was named after him and his brother.
It was,
more so him.
I mean, to me, it's hard. I mean, you got one of the best guitarists ever, one of the best actors. How do you
Salad
separate?
dressing.
And he was
good
truly a good person.
Paul
that
Newman?
gave 100% back.
Oh, yeah. Newman's Olin has donated a ton to charity. And it's a good product. It's not like you have to, I don't know if you guys have ever used his product. You're not skimping on the product.
No, but from
it's got a good spaghetti sauce.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid,
Phenomenal
to
movie.
what you got with Cool Hand Luke, and then on the comedy side, Slapstick is Reggie Dunlap, the head coach.
I thought
Coach
it was
Blair.
fantastic in The Sting. He and Robert Redford were just really good together.
Yeah, they were.
But I'll tell you a role that
I would lean Newman here, but boy, it's tight.
he was not the lead in this one, but I loved his role in Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah,
Just
his last
phenomenal. Was that his very last one?
I think it was his last role.
Was it?
Yep.
Yeah, it was really good. I'll
Yeah,
go Paul Newman.
that's a hidden gem. If you guys have never seen Road to Perdition,
Oh, such a good
and
movie.
it's against type for both Paul Newman and Tom Hanks
And Daniel Craig.
and Daniel Craig.
Hey, so Leaf Blower says Eddie Van Halen literally had to build his own guitar because one didn't exist that was good enough for him.
Well, he invented that sound. It's a specific sound he went for.
Yeah.
Like, he was an innovator. Like, he changed things. He changed the game.
I've always thought it was weird that a band was named after a guy that wasn't the lead singer. That just seems weird to me. So that should tell you how good he is.
Now
Right?
back to it. Goose says Ellen has never been the best in her field. Kirby, easy choice.
I would agree with that.
I disagree. I think Ellen was the best of those. And now it wasn't a high bar when you have guys like Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, but I think Ellen was the
Didn't
best.
she also
for
do, like, at a time, like, the most viral photo where she took that Oscars photo with, like,
Oh, that is true.
30 of
Yeah,
the
Bradley
great
Cooper.
actors.
She hosted the Oscars. Kirby's got some time to work
Kirby
on
Smart
it.
was at the media days last
He
year.
was. I remember.
Kirby will need to get to 8
Hey,
national championships.
And I do think Conor O'Gara, I think it was interesting yesterday what he said. If Kirby was to win 7 or 8, I don't think you could ever necessarily call him the GOAT because of 1 and 5 against Saban.
It's tough to overcome that. He'll never get to rectify that, it doesn't appear. Fifth down.
Okay, so Wayne Gretzky, 63 years old.
All right.
Better career, Wayne Gretzky or John Wayne?
Wayne Gretzky.
I would go Gretzky, too.
I would, too.
Literally
Yeah.
called the Great One.
I can't ever get past when John Wayne comes up, Rockstar, showing us that photo of him playing Genghis Khan. It's the most absurd thing ever.
It was so good. Like that casting was spot on.
It is so absurd. And Wayne Gretzky never has a photo like that floating around.
Yeah,
that I'm aware of.
and I asked that. Hockey's obviously not top of mind where we are, and I think a lot of people would consider John Wayne for the Western genre maybe the greatest lead man in that genre.
People that were around the Birmingham Bulls and the WHA in the 70s, the Birmingham Bulls actually were making the largest financial offer to sign Wayne Gretzky, and ended up going to Edmonton.
It's one of my favorite photos of all time when Rockstar pulls this up. It's so absurd that they picked
So
John.
I started watching Griselda last night, based on Griselda Blanco, one of the most ruthless crime lords, female, in the history of the Miami drug trade. And it had, when it does the ratings, it has all the stuff like sex, nudity, violence, suicide. But some of the older movies, you'll see yellowface.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
like
didn't warn you of that?
if
Yeah.
American was playing an Asian. So I wonder if you put Genghis Khan on, if it throws up yellowface.
So John Wayne's not Asian.
He is not Asian.
I would imagine they would have to. That is Four Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
4 great locations. Stop in, see the Vajaya brothers. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
More college football will set the table for the weekend basketball-wise, and Todd Fuhrman coming up the next half hour right here on the next round.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Rhoback. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Rhoback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Rhoback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Rhoback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Rhoback.com.
For more than 40 years, Red Wing Shoes has been helping the hardworking people of Alabama. This is why Red Wing Shoes has created the 3-step comfort solution. Step 1, a certified fit specialist will use a 3D scan to electronically measure your feet and arches. Step 2, the fit specialist helps you get the appropriate footwear for your occupation. Step 3, customize your boot or shoe with a Red Wing orthotic. Whether you have a high arch or flat feet, Red Wing has comfort solutions for you. So experience comfort at its best. Visit one of the Red Wing shoe stores located in Pelham or Trussville. Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from the next round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, February 2nd through 4th at the BJCC. See classic cars and hot rods, custom trucks and motorcycles. Friday, meet WWE legend Mick Foley. Saturday, meet Dave Kindig from Kindig Designs. And Sunday, meet Jerry Mathers, the Bee from Leave It to Beaver. Plus, feature cars like the Batmobile and General Lee. Kids, meet your favorite costume characters and race Hot Wheels on the free Hot Wheels drag track. Don't miss the Super Show with one-of-a-kind vehicles from across the country. Get your discount tickets today at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Get details at worldofwheels.net.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Rhoback. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Rhoback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Rhoback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Rhoback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Rhoback.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round. presented by Bud Light, is on now.
I'm right about this weekend, right? It's the first time that former MVPs, both under the age of 30, have faced off in a championship game setting or in the playoffs at total. So pretty rare air to have Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson going against each other this deep into the playoffs.
So Manning and Brady, that's the matchup you would think about. I would have thought in their late 20s they would have matched up in the AFC Championship game. They're saying
first ever former MVPs under the age of 30, both of them under the age of 30, matching up in this one. The one that blows me away, which is the stat you brought up a few seconds ago about the Baltimore defense. It's only the fourth time since the merger that an all-pro quarterback, Lamar Jackson in this case, and the number one scoring defense of the Ravens, only the fourth time that has happened. They've been on the same team in the playoffs. The other times, 1972 Miami Dolphins, 78 Pittsburgh Steelers, and the 96 Green Bay Packers, all Super Bowl champions, if my memory serves right. 72 Dolphins was the first of two, 78 Pittsburgh was the third of four, and the 96 Green Bay Packers, I believe, was the Brett Favre, Desmond Howard team, right?
I think you're right about that, yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to 20 years ago. They had to be in their 20s, right? Or maybe not. So it was
20 years ago. Brady was 40.
That's crazy.
I mean, it was their first matchup in the AFC Championship game was January 18th of 2004. So 20 years ago. I know Peyton would have been in his 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Brady would have been in his 20s.
I've got
easily in his 20s because he only played till like 45.
So that stat's wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Were they MVPs, both of them at that point? League MVPs?
Ah, there's the rub.
Yeah. I bet they're not.
Yes, these guys are former league MVPs.
Okay,
there.
that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Show being brought to you by our friends at Bandwagon. Tell us about Bandwagon Sports.
Jimmy D, Bandwagon Sports, one of our favorite places. We saw some of the gang out at our specialty show that we were doing there from Oats on the heels of the retirement of Nick Saban. They came out and had a good time there. Our friends at Bandwagon remind you baseball and softball season right around the corner. They are completely stocked with every single thing your kid needs to make it an unforgettable season. I'm talking like grip tape, gloves, custom uniforms. They got all the gear, big and small, for the ballpark days until February 3rd, so you got a little while. If you spend $100 on baseball or softball equipment at Bandwagon, just get $20 off. $100 spent on that equipment, $20 off. That is a great deal at Bandwagon Sports. All you need to do is say you love the next round, and that's why you're here. BandwagonSports.com. Jump on the bandwagon. Find a store near you. BandwagonSports.com.
Sometimes LT says things that I don't react like I believe them sometimes. But he and Brown have been talking for years about you have to apologize for everything nowadays. And it hit a I'm not going to call it an all-new low last night, but it did hit a low last evening. It was South Carolina's women's basketball team. They beat LSU 76-70, two great teams. LSU won the national championship. It was either the pregame or the halftime show. They brought out a king cake.
Okay.
And
overrated, in my opinion.
They were going to search for the baby Jesus in there, per tradition.
Yeah.
But they were running close to the tip of the game or returning back to the game. So L. Duncan starts clawing through it, just trying to find the baby Jesus, and everyone is cutting, and nobody is eating it. They're just trying to find the baby Jesus per the tradition.
Yeah.
People apparently were so upset that they were ruining the king cake that they had to issue an apology.
L. Duncan did?
It wasn't L. It was Carolyn Beck. But here's the apology. King cake mauling controversy update. No disrespect to the cake. This is from Peter Burns, by the way, but this was an official release from Carolyn Beck. No disrespect to the cake. It was all just a matter of TV crunch time. We wanted to find the baby while on air, but trust me, I respect the sanctity of Mardi Gras king cakes.
Well, I didn't know they were that big of a deal.
I didn't know.
This has to be some tongue-in-cheek, right?
It has to be.
They were catching some heat for destroying a great delicacy there in Baton Rouge.
Well, I tell you what, man. I think they're overrated.
Yep.
Okay, it's something that looks like it would be really good, but then when I've eaten it, I've never really liked it.
I mean, they're having to make so many of them to have to feel the need this time of year.
And I never knew until recently that the baby in it was representative of the baby Jesus. I had no idea that was the case.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good luck, but a lot of people choke on them and die, right?
Well, I think it's happened.
Well, I think now that
they make them bigger.
No, by law now that they can't put the baby Jesus in the cake.
Yeah, sold separately.
Yeah, no, it comes in the packet. You place it in there yourself, so you're taking responsibility.
So you know where it is, too.
Of course.
Well, yeah, it comes with a little extra that you can ice over the place you put it in.
But I always think, like, every year I get sucked in, I'm like, I'm going to do king cake again. I mean, it just looks so good, like that icing on it, and it's colorful.
Something
and I just never.
Borat did the sequel on Amazon where he found a girl. He finds his daughter.
I saw it.
They go behind a dumpster and they're eating king cake, and she swallows the baby. So they go to a doctor, and he says, I was with my daughter behind the dumpster, and she has a baby inside of her.
God.
I put it inside of her. Can you get it out? And the doctor's like, wait, what? And he's like, this is my daughter. We were behind the dumpster. She has a baby inside her. Can you get it out?
It is so inappropriate, but so funny. By the way, L. Duncan?
Yes.
Best work not on ESPN. It's the FanDuel commercial.
Yeah, you're not betting against the home team, are you? I think it's ESPN Bet is actually the commercial she set up. Yeah. All right, back to college football we go. Klatt made a point on our show and on his show, Joel Klatt's podcast, that Kayshon DeBoer making it to the national championship game with Washington and their recruiting composites over the recent years felt like it opened the door for so many programs in college football. This was before DeBoer left Washington and went to Alabama, inherited a very different recruiting cycle, a different roster and all that. But back to Klatt's point there, and now that the landscape is moving towards the Big Ten and the SEC, do you find that to still be true, that Joel Klatt's comment that Kayshon DeBoer and what he was able to do at Washington, then in the Pac-12, not a Big Ten team, and where their recruiting rankings were down in the 20s composite-wise, that it's opened the door up? Or do you feel like that we're starting to narrow down, to shrink the championship field a little bit?
I think it opens things up for more teams to obviously be involved. I don't think to win championships. And I'll give you an example. Like, we've even seen this over the last few years with Cincinnati and TCU crashing the party. Last year, Florida Atlantic was a shot away from playing for a national championship. San Diego State did play for one. We've seen Butler play for one. George Mason makes a Final Four run. VCU makes a Final Four run. I think you'll see non-brands that will be in the mix, but I don't think any of those non-brands will ever win a national championship.
I think it's actually going to lessen it, and here's why. It's going to be lessened, and here's why. Is those teams are the vast majority of the teams are going to be playoffs are Big Ten and SEC teams. So a team like Washington actually feasted on the Pac-12 at maybe its height, right? But you won't be able to have a team that can have a lesser roster and they just happen to catch it right with their conference and they skate through undefeated. TCU is a good example, right? TCU, best team TCU's had since, my dad was a kid, right? And was it Sammy Ball at TCU guy?
Sammy Ball.
Probably the best team they've had since Sammy Ball. And they just hit it at the right time, right? You won't get to do that anymore because the playoff is going to be packed with Big Ten and SEC teams primarily. So, I mean, who's gonna have a lesser roster and find a way to somehow skate through those conferences enough to get in the college football playoffs?
Yeah, and even with that said, again, my point is winning championships because these teams we talk about making a run to the college football playoff next year from the SEC, Ole Miss, Missouri, those teams couldn't win SEC championships. So, yeah, they might get to a 14 playoff, but they're not going to win it.
But it does seem like, back to our Ole Miss discussion to start the show and picking up a couple of Washington offensive linemen yesterday, the transfer portal is allowing a little more distribution of the talent in college football. Just look what that Washington roster, their best players are now spread to Tuscaloosa and Oxford and one going to Florida. Some Alabama players are at Florida State. It seems to be a lot of talent going to Ohio State, to Texas. Georgia is good, but it does open the door with the portal that you end up with a recruiting composite somewhere in the 20s and 30s, but because of the portal, you become a much better team.
But will Ole Miss, would they, and I guess they would if they go to the national championship game, they would be viewed the same as Washington do it, you think?
As far as their recruiting composites, yeah.
Oh, their recruiting composites much better than Washington.
It's got to be better than Washington.
Look where they were over the last 3 years. I think you're going to find it's going to be better than Washington, but I think
it would be 10 spots better at least.
I think you're going to find it between 15 and 22. It's going to be my guess just on the feel of the Ole Miss program.
Yeah, but was Washington's not in the 50s?
I thought it was 28.
I think it was 28 for 1 year, but I think if you did the double up, I think it was in the 60s or 70s 1 year.
All right, so 2024, Ole Miss, not great, 20th. Jeez, man, this thing. I hate it when you get the pop down right as you're about to click on something and you accidentally click the pop down. It takes you to a whole other website. It drives me crazy.
But if you're in the pop down, pop up business, that's good. That's exactly what you want.
It's
timed out perfectly.
Yes. In 2023, Ole Miss was 20th. The composite right now, if you guys aren't keeping up, the composite is 20 right now for the last 3 years.
It's not. This isn't a math. It's not calculus.
It's not advanced math. 2022, hotty toddy gashamati, Ole Miss 19.
19.
Okay. We don't change it much. No. Do I need to go another year back? I think we've seen who Lane is as a recruiter, right?
Okay.
He's at 20. Now, do I have to do Washington or do you remember Washington? Yeah. Well, I'm going to go backwards since I've already got 2023 pulled up. You're going to have to go deep to find Washington here. Ole Miss is going to be better. I can tell you already. I can't even find Washington.
I wonder what the difference will be, though.
It's going to be significant.
Yeah, but that's the Jimmy Lake year. He just the last 2 years,
just
23 and 24.
Years? Yeah. All right. 2023.
But are these the same years you just did for Ole Miss?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to give you the last 2 years. That's what Jim asked for, was the last 2 years. When Ole Miss was 20, Washington was 27th and 23. And, well, this is the most recent signing class. I am going to have to go back to 22. And that's what's going to change this. Washington was deep.
Yeah.
That's what's going to affect
They didn't have the same coach. But last year, I think it was 28. So they were going to be in the high 20s.
Ole Miss is recruited marginally better. I would say marginally better.
Yeah. But it's the portal that makes the difference. Your Washington's not where they are without Michael Penix Jr. They're not in position.
But, Ole Miss is not where they are without Jackson Dart.
Yeah. And several other guys who will be there. Ohio State could be that team this year. We could be looking at Ohio State going, great recruits, but they're not where they are without Quinshon Judkins, or look at Caleb Downs making that big play here or there.
And see, to your point, there was that, and I don't know that we did it every year, but I do remember people doing the article about where you have to be in the 4-year recruiting average to win a national championship. You remember those deals,
That's
right?
And now I think you'll have to factor the portal into it.
You have to. It doesn't matter anymore if you don't factor the portal in, because you can recruit at a high level, and if you're not at all active in the portal, it's working against you.
Yeah. Interesting on how open, a lot of people think 12-team playoffs is going to open this up for a lot of people. As we've said from the beginning, it'll be a very heavy SEC Big Ten field with some champions from some other conferences around. To college basketball, we go on the other side after I tell you about our fine friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. How many times have you tweaked something? Brown, what do you usually tweak on the golf course when you're playing golf on the reg?
Probably your back or neck or something like that.
You don't get a good stretch
Swing a little too hard,
Yeah, I've got a friend that he only does it at first tee shot, first ball, first tee. He'll always, after his swing, grab his left hamstring.
Oh, no.
It's always tight. Don't get a good stretch
in. Is it in the woods when he does that?
If you don't, he always gets a breakfast ball afterwards.
Oh, okay.
And the hamstring,
that's one way to do it.
Hamstring doesn't hurt on the breakfast ball there. Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Get your life back on track. If you tweak something on the golf course, some of you may be getting out to play golf as soon as it dries up. If you can catch the heat just right this time of year, get a little warmth. A lot of people in shorts up here today because we're kissing 70 again. That golf season not too far away. Golf, pick up basketball, pickleball, whatever you're doing. You tweak something, get your life back on track with Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Orthopedic care better together. 205-512-3885, 512-3885, or precisionsportsortho.com/2024. Basketball this weekend. How huge of a game is it for Auburn as they play at Mississippi State tomorrow afternoon?
Well, I think it's big based on the fact that you're coming off a road loss. A lot of people said, look, although you've won 11 consecutive games, you haven't really beaten anybody. So this is an opportunity to go on the road. Look, I think although Arkansas is not what we thought they would be, that Arkansas win was impressive.
It really was on the road there.
They are 126 in the net, though, so that's what kills you, when you start talking about quad one wins. Arkansas is at 126. I mean, that does absolutely nothing for your perceived strength of schedule. I agree with Lance. When they played that game, we thought that was basically a pick 'em, right?
Yeah.
And they went in there and scalded Arkansas.
My point on Auburn's loss in Tuscaloosa, it feels very different than that loss at Appalachian State. I think if you're an Auburn fan after that loss at Appalachian State, you're thinking to yourself, oh my, we just lost to App State on the road. Now, the atmosphere was really good if you watched any of that game. App State student section really brought it, but it's still Appalachian State. And you're thinking to yourself, what are we in for this year? Then all of a sudden, this team won 11 straight basketball games and hard-fought loss in Tuscaloosa the other night. I don't know how crucial this game is. I think a loss to Mississippi State, who's a good team in Starkville, then you start going, okay, let's take a step back and reassess where this team is, because we were putting it up there potentially as the best Bruce Pearl team he's had at Auburn, especially at this time of year, because that Final Four team got hot late at just the right time.
Yeah, look, Auburn's a better team than Mississippi State. I fully expect them to bounce back. State's lost 4 of 6. Now, Toulouse Smith is playing really good basketball, and that's going to be a great matchup, Smith and Broome, down in the paint. But I think Auburn bounces back here. We said, look, they've got 3 tough road games. They probably go 2-1, and I think they've already lost their one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just if people, I don't know, you don't like to bring the net up, and I get that, but it gets brought up, and those quad 1 wins or Ken Palm top 100 wins, whatever gets brought up on the road. And until you do that, you got to slay that dragon at some point, right? And this is another chance to get a quad 1 win because it's a top 75 team, but it's a top 50 team on the road. So it's a chance to find. Auburn is 0-2 in quad 1 wins. Alabama got a quad 1 win while they were asleep last night because Oregon moved into the top 50. So that was a game that was played back in
November.
Same day as the Iron Bowl, I think,
Yep.
if I remember correctly. And it became a quad 1 win last night because they moved in the top 50. I don't know if they can stay there, but Alabama's now 4-4. Auburn's 0-2. You got to get one of those at some point, because while we may talk about the Ken Palm, the NCAA leans on that net when they do seeding, and you don't want to go in there with a bad quad 1 record.
Yeah, look, and I think it's a dangerous game. I think Auburn's probably going to be 1.5 to 2.5 point favorites. But you look at Mississippi State and Starkville. They've played 3 conference games at home. They're 2-1. They drummed Vanderbilt, and then they lost to Alabama by 8, where Alabama scored the final 8 points of that game. So it was a really good game up until then. And they beat Tennessee. So, if they can beat Tennessee and Starkville, obviously they can beat anybody at home.
Rockstar Cut 1, Grant Nelson, as we flip to Alabama. They play host tomorrow night to LSU. Alabama, a better team than LSU. But you got to defend home court advantage. Grant Nelson, after the win over Auburn, made a statement that I think a lot of Alabama basketball fans sort of wish they could make true for every home game the rest of the way.
What can you do to take the way that game ended for you and channel that for future games?
Yeah, that environment was crazy. So, it'd be nice to have that every game at home. But, just us finishing games, beginning of the season, we weren't great at it. So it's good to see that we're learning and growing. And, it's a fun group to play with. So we just got to keep getting better.
Yeah, and you brought it up yesterday, Brownie. This is a bring your own guts, bring your own energy type game against LSU. And I just wonder on a Saturday night against LSU, after everyone put so much energy into the Auburn game the other night, just what the atmosphere will be like. I'd love to see it, 12, 13,000 plus, but sometimes it's not.
I don't think it's going to approach the same atmosphere. For one thing, I don't know that LSU, Auburn jumped out to, they were up 8 at one point in the first half, right? And then Alabama stormed back at the end of the first half. I don't think LSU is going to be able to do that to Alabama. Alabama's probably, they're the better team. I think they'll control this game a little bit better. So that's going to affect it. But even if it's a tight game, listen, even Alabama football, which there's an amazing amount of passion for Alabama football, more so than basketball. Nobody's going to argue that. Does a Mississippi State home game and an Auburn home game have the same atmosphere?
No.
The Iron Bowl is going to have a better atmosphere because it's a rival. So you just got to understand that. And I completely understand what Grant Nelson is saying. They would love that every game. Any player would. I don't know that you get that anywhere in America, though, to be honest with you. It's not going to be juiced the same for your biggest rival as it is for just another middle-of-the-tier conference team.
We'll talk to Todd Fuhrman about Alabama and Auburn basketball, but specifically the NFL Championship Sunday coming up. He's in our next segment. Lance'sLock.com for your plays this weekend. Lance will be all over AFC, NFC Championship game. And if I remember throughout the years, You're really good on NFC, AFC champion. Super Bowl, you have
got our NFL Game of the Year coming up on Sunday.
Okay, so your NFL Game of the Year is coming up this weekend. LancesLock.com. It's an easy website. You just put that in there, right? LancesLock.com, and you get there, you get a lot of things.
Yeah, I get free play every single day. We got 3 plays up today, 2 college basketball, 1 in the NBA. Jump on board, LancesLock.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round hosts a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, presented by Redmont Vodka. LT has in-depth conversations with personalities like Clay Travis and Taylor Hicks. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple and Spotify. And remember to like and subscribe.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call. LT takes off the gloves for an in-depth conversation with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Todd Fuhrman's flying, supposed to be here with us this segment. We hope we catch him at an airport near you here in a little bit as we continue on today. Show number 627 being brought to you in part by our friends with the Birmingham Squadron. First all-time meeting between the Squadron and the Windy City Bulls. So the Squad and the Windy City Bulls go Sunday at 3 o'clock. And as I've been telling you all week long, it is Faith and Family Day at Legacy Arena down there. The first 1,000 fans through the doors receive...
Oh, put it on, Jimmy D. So the first 100 fans get this?
First 1,000 fans.
1,000? Turn it around.
Do I have my beak?
You got it now. Yeah.
Okay. Son, you got a cock on your head.
Is this a pelican?
It's not a pelican.
What is it?
It's cock.
The first 1,000 fans through the doors receive a pelican plush hat. Is this a plush hat? Am I wearing this for no reason?
No, it is plush, absolutely. Yeah. And it says pelican. That is a pelican.
I need to look ahead. Beads. Yeah. I'm looking at promotion giveaways later on.
King cakes.
Bucket hats. This isn't a bucket hat.
No, we've seen you with a bucket hat.
I guess this is the plush. This is the plush. The plush hat. So the first 1,000 fans through the doors on Faith and Family Night receive this, the Pelicans plush hat. The Squadron's got the best three-point shooting team in the league. Air Elite Trampoline Dunkers, man, they are fun to watch. They're there at halftime as well. 3 o'clock Sunday, Legacy Arena, $5 beer there in the chill zone as well. Faith and Family Day, Legacy Arena, 3 o'clock for the Birmingham Squadron this weekend. I do look like Willie Nelson a little bit right there. It's like on the road again. I can't wait to get back on the road again. Blue Eye. I can't think of any other songs there. Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, maybe. Okay.
Give us some Poncho and Lefty.
Oh, I like Poncho and Lefty. Yeah. You like that song, don't you, Jimmy?
I do. And 7 Spanish Angels, really, really good.
He and Ray Charles?
Oh, while we wait on Ferman, see if he jumps in, let's go backwards on the shot sheet here and listen to some sound about the NFL Championship this weekend. Start with cut 6, Rockstar. Aiden Hutchinson. What a big week it's been for him. 2 weeks, really. Getting those Lions wins. He played his football at Michigan. His college football, and he's a high school guy, Michigan native. Here's Aiden Hutchinson talking about the Lions and the negative narratives around this organization.
You grow up with a lot of the same old Lions stuff and a lot of the tragedy and whatever you want to call it. I grew up with it, and so to be on this side of it, and even I see videos of little kids and just like seeing that generation grow up with this Lions team and the Lions teams to come. It's cool to have 2 different perspectives on it and to see kind of both sides of the coin.
Now, he helped bring Michigan back to a national forefront, and now he's able to bring his childhood team and make them relevant for the first time since basically the early 90s.
Well, look, offensively, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are going to be huge in this game and what they're going to be able to do running the football against the San Francisco defense, but he is the ultimate X factor. And, he's got 8 sacks over his last 4 games. He wreaked havoc against the Rams, wreaked havoc against your Bucs. And if he can do that and put this pressure on Brock Purdy, people believe the only way San Francisco loses this game if Brock Purdy has a bad game. If Hutchinson can put that pressure on him, force him into multiple mistakes, that could be the difference.
That could be the difference. So, too, could Christian McCaffrey. Remember, this 49ers team played last year, 365 days ago, the NFC Championship game with an injured Brock Purdy where he couldn't throw the ball downfield. So they had to basically just abandon everything they'd game planned for and just try to run some Wildcats and some weird stuff. Christian McCaffrey remembers how bad it was the last NFC Championship game.
Is this team kind of like on a mission based on the way last year ended to finish the deal and take those 2 extra steps?
Yeah, definitely. I think going back to the first day of OTAs, we definitely had a salty taste in our mouth from last year, and we knew how good this team can be, and teams like this don't always come around. So to have it and to have this opportunity and to be in the position we're in, the sense of urgency is definitely high.
Has he played in the Super Bowl yet?
No.
He wasn't on the Cam Newton team, right? So
Garoppolo was the last San Francisco quarterback to play in Super Bowl. I think he would have played in the Super Bowl if he doesn't get hurt early against Philadelphia last year.
Yeah. So Christian McCaffrey with a chance to roll.
Excuse me, I was thinking Brock Purdy, but no, Christian McCaffrey is not either.
Okay, let's get to our man out in the desert, Brownie.
It is Todd Fuhrman, the man in the desert, on the road today. Traveling woes early today for Todd Fuhrman. What is up, Ferman? How are you?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. Every now and again this time of year, you got to take about 12 hours to sneak out of the desert before the entire sporting world will descend on Las Vegas. Once we know the Super Bowl combatants on Sunday, it should be an exciting time of year, no doubt about it.
There is no doubt about that. Todd, you can see the games at bettheboardpodcast.com, bettheboardpodcast.com. Let's start with the AFC. Let's start with the early game. And when you look at Baltimore, this is a team where Lamar Jackson has lived through this narrative of his postseason performance. I feel like all the pressure in this game is on Lamar Jackson to change that narrative once and for all.
To some level, I would agree, but at the same time, I think he quieted a lot of his doubters last week with a dominant second-half performance, because when you watch the first 30 minutes against the Texans, you're left going, we've seen this story before. Baltimore, the superior team, but they're unable to find separation. But Lamar goes in, makes adjustments in conjunction with Todd Monken, and they come out with a very different offensive game plan that allowed Lamar to lean into his legs, get the ball out of his hands much quicker, and find that comfortable margin of victory. Now, of course, you have Patrick Mahomes coming into your house, the first time the Ravens will host the AFC Championship game, and you wonder what it's going to take to get that monkey off your back with the defending Super Bowl champion. But this doesn't have to be just about Lamar. When you look at this Ravens roster from top to bottom, sure, the offense will garner all sorts of headlines, and rightfully so. But this is one of the best defenses, not in just the league this year, but that we've seen over the last 5 to 10 years, in my opinion. Completed all the positions, able to generate a pass rush, good in the secondary. And I think that's where they can go about winning this game with an alternative path, knowing that the Kansas City offense that's looked better in each of the last couple weeks has had the benefit of playing teams with a rest advantage and a Bills defense that was a little bit banged up and a Miami defense that was truly a shell of itself in the first round of the playoffs.
Nothing goes past you, Ferman, and I have been getting dogged out because it's not a conspiracy theory. Sean Smith is your head official on this game, and the fact of the matter is home teams win 50% of the games in the regular season, but under his watch, they've only won 40%. And when you look at against the number, it's not even close. My whole point is the NFL handpicked this guy based on it would give Kansas City the best opportunity to move forward. Do you look into this at all?
I don't. I think it's great narrative fodder as much as anything else. But quite frankly, LT, I saw the same storyline last week when they talked about the officiating crew that was going to be in Buffalo, about how that may benefit the Bills. I think now when you look at the NFL, because legalized sports betting is such a big portion of everything that gets done, every small storyline gets further extrapolated out. And this becomes an easy narrative for people to gravitate toward getting Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce to the Super Bowl to try and create a little bit of buzz. You still have to handicap the games as is. It's not the same, in my opinion, as a best-of-7 NBA series when you bring in Scott Foster and his team going, you know what, we need a little extra TV revenue, so we don't want this to be a 4-game sweep. We need the series stretched out. This game, in my opinion, will be played on the up and up. You could call holding on pretty much every play in the NFL. And unless there's something egregious, I can't buy into some of the conspiracy theories that are out there, even if some of my colleagues whose opinions I truly respect have used that as a focal point and something that they've liked to talk about on media all week.
Oh, I want to ask you about the Mahomes winning on the road thing, because that was a big talking point last week, and he checked that box. The question to me is, did you see an impact that game would have been played any different in Kansas City than it was in Buffalo? It looked about the same outcome, just the people that went home sad instead of happy.
No, I didn't see it really change the game plan at all. If anything, Patrick Mahomes was kind of open and honest in his assessment of that they relished the opportunity to go into hostile territory and silence the fan base, the us against the world mentality. But I think the one thing for me watching that game that was a little bit disappointing, I didn't get the feeling that was all that hostile an atmosphere for Buffalo. It almost felt like it was a collective sigh of relief from that group, that there was a nervous energy that we hadn't grown accustomed to. I think this is going to be a completely different animal when they go into Baltimore. It's one of the more underrated home field advantages. And when you look at this Ravens team from top to bottom, with Lamar Jackson under center, I mean, they have consistently scored 30 points on their opponents. Over the last 5 games, they've held all of their opponents to 20 points or less. And the Houston Texans didn't even have a chance to run a play in the red zone last week. I think Kansas City is trending in the right direction. It's always difficult to discount Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes when it comes to developing a game plan. But when you have essentially 3 weapons, and Isaiah Pacheco, Travis Kelce, and Rashee Rice, I think Baltimore has enough pieces that they're able to take away one of those players, force KC to play a little bit left-handed, and it's going to be some of those role players, whether it's a Marquez Valdez-Scantling or somebody else, that's going to have to make a big play if the Chiefs are going to go into Baltimore and win this game outright.
Todd Fuhrman is on Twitter, and Todd Fuhrman, former odds maker at Caesars Palace, now does bettheboardpodcast.com, bettheboardpodcast.com to get his thoughts on all the games. He is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. One more thing for me on this game is Baltimore's Marlon Humphrey, the Alabama product, says he hopes he can play. Kansas City isn't exactly dangerous at wide receiver. How big of a storyline is that for you?
I think it would be, something that you'd like to have your full complement of defensive weapons out there. But if Humphrey can't go in this spot, to your point, Brownie, I don't think it'd be as big a loss this year against Kansas City as it would have been in the past. If they had a Tyreek Hill out there and you had to contend with multiple weapons, I think Baltimore will be just fine in terms of how they go about trying to slow down this Kansas City offense and what they're looking to do. In my opinion, the most valuable player on that defense for a matchup like this on Sunday will be Kyle Hamilton. Can he match up one-on-one with Travis Kelce? If they're able to neutralize the tight end position, it's going to allow Mike McDonald to do a lot of different things. The other injuries that I don't think enough people have talked about is to Joe Thuney along the offensive line. I mean, losing a left guard of that caliber who has been a linchpin and the protection packages for Mahomes, I think, is a big loss, and we'll monitor his status. I don't expect him to be out there at all. Even if he is, I don't think he'll be that effective, and that's where Baltimore can generate some interior pass rush as well.
Yeah, that pass rush up the middle is huge. What's Pacheco's deal? He's a little banged up too, right?
Yeah, not the model of health there. I mean, he's going to be out there. He'll run as angry as he always does. I think the biggest question when you look at Andy Reid, will he be comfortable to try and play against that Ravens weakness defensively? And you've been able to run the football against this team. I know that hasn't exactly been his MO in the past. He loves to trust Patrick Mahomes, and who wouldn't in high-leverage situations to throw the ball a ton. But I think that plays into Baltimore's hands. So this Chiefs team has been the model of health each of the last couple of weeks. They've been the beneficiaries of taking on opponents that were more banged up with a rest advantage. Suddenly they run into a Baltimore team that's well-rested, have their full complement of players, and we'll see if Marlon Humphrey and Mark Andrews are able to give it a go in this game as well.
That's actually my favorite play of the weekend, players props. I haven't decided which one yet, but whoever's running back 2, I choose to go behind Pacheco over their yardage, whatever is listed in the game on Sunday. Yeah.
Who are you, Kayshon Boutte?
You guys have a lot more faith, or at least I should say Dunaway, you do, in the running ability of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, whose vision is that more of a 75-year-old, not exactly 20/20 when it comes to hitting the hole.
But we're the same age eyesight-wise, so it works out really good.
and I wouldn't trust you to run the football effectively against this Baltimore defense either. So you made my point for me, so I appreciate that.
Ferman NFC Championship game, 5:30 Central Time, Detroit, San Francisco. I think everybody in America that is not a San Francisco fan probably pulling for the Lions in this situation. They're 13-6 against the number, second best record behind the Raiders in the NFL this year. And you've got Brock Purdy coming in, didn't play well against Green Bay. 2 of his last 3 games, he's been very subpar, going back to that Baltimore loss where he threw 4 picks. Do you trust a guy like Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, laying 7 points in a championship game?
I do. I actually think this is a good buy low opportunity for the 49ers. And to be honest, I was hoping that if Deebo Samuel got officially ruled out in any capacity, you were going to have the opportunity to lay a number below a touchdown. You know, when you look at this Brock Purdy storyline, I think last week was the exact opposite. Not that he played well, but for everyone that said Kyle Shanahan lost trust in him, Brock Purdy threw the ball on 64% of the offensive plays that the 49ers ran against the Packers. That was the highest rate we saw all season for a game where the 49ers played from start to finish in what is called the neutral game state. So that 6-7 that he put together on the game-winning drive, I think carries over in this spot. Not going to have to deal with any of that inclement weather. And when you look at this Detroit Lions defense, I mean, it's one of the worst in the league when it comes to defending wide receiver ones. That secondary leaves a lot to be desired. And we've seen Kendall Vildor and Cam Sutton really struggle so far in the postseason. Mike Evans, a massive day last week. Puka Nacua the week before. I really believe Kyle Shanahan is going to go against tendency, and you're going to see Brock Purdy throw it early and often and use the pass to set up the run, knowing that the strength of this Lions defense is their ability to take away the ground game. And I don't think Christian McCaffrey is 100%. I mean, you see him getting that calf worked on throughout the course of the game against Green Bay. I expect him to have a smaller workload. He'll be effective, but this will be a Brock Purdy game where he can silence some of his doubters.
Todd Fuhrman, BetTheBoardPodcast.com. One guy we know is not going to be active in this game is Frank Ragnow. I don't know how you evaluate an offensive lineman's worth, but he's a pretty darn good one.
When you lose a player like that, I mean, it is massive along the offensive line. The strength of this Lions team, and a credit to them, when they were rebuilding this roster, they understood they had to place the emphasis on that offensive line, because you can take a good quarterback and make him great. You can take a great quarterback and take him to another level. I mean, Jared Goff isn't the kind of player that can go out there in a muddy pocket and make plays with his legs, try and work outside the tackle boxes and do some of those things. So when you have an offensive line that doesn't have its full complement of pieces there, it puts an onus on the ground game. And that's where the 49ers struggled a little bit last week against Aaron Jones. But you dig into the numbers that Jones put forth, 53 of his total yards on the ground came on one carry, and the explosive plays the Packers were able to generate, a little bit of byproduct of a slippery field where Javarius Ward fell down. I think the Lions are in for a full 4-quarter fight. The 49ers took on that NCAA tournament survive and advance mentality, and when everybody appears to be writing them off this week, I think this is the opportunity to buy stock at the bottom of the market for a lot of the things that Lance said. Everyone that isn't a 49ers fan, and of course bettors as well, feels like they're rooting for the lovable losers in the Lions. that makes for a great storyline. If this was a Disney movie, it's not how you make money in this business.
Two quick ones before you get out of here from me. One, Bill Belichick doesn't get the Falcons job. I think Seattle and Washington's the only one left. Are the odds telling you he's out of coaching? Is it done for at least 1 year?
I think he finds himself on the outside looking into this coaching cycle. Seattle, if you look at some of the betting boards, Dan Quinn's still the favorite there. I'm not sure if he'll be the one that emerges atop the heap. But if you're the Seahawks and you're parting ways with someone in their 70s and Pete Carroll, you're not bringing in Bill Belichick for a fresh outlook there. And when you look at the Commanders, I would not be shocked as early as Monday if Ben Johnson, if the Lions were to lose on Sunday, gets announced as their new head coach. Everyone I've talked to said he has the inside track for that gig. But I won't lie, guys. I was a little bit surprised that Raheem Morris got the job in Atlanta, not because he wasn't deserving, but because we thought Mike Vrabel was going to be the guy that could usurp Bill Belichick. So it looks like Bill may be headed to media this season, and we'll figure out exactly what kind of sound bites we can get from him when he's getting paid by a network instead of a franchise.
And then Alabama, a wonderful win over Auburn, but it was such a great game. Auburn now has to back that up, a road game at Mississippi State. I know it's early for a line there. Do you think Auburn can bounce back on the road in Starkville?
You know, it's a tough spot, and you look at Auburn, and they had been playing well. There was a reason, though, they were a 2.5 to 3 point underdog in that spot against the Crimson Tide. The odds makers had an inkling how that game could go, and I think Auburn's still looking for some of those resume-defining wins. We'll see what we get from a bounce back. I don't want to put my name on the line in terms of picking a side in that particular game, but they'll need a much more complete effort than what we saw in Tuscaloosa earlier this week, as I know Auburn wants to improve their seeding and prove that resume that appears to have some holes in it on the surface can get significantly better. But here's the bottom line for me, guys. When I watch the SEC this year, nothing warms my heart more than watching the Arkansas Razorbacks continue to struggle with what their fan base thinks is the best coach in the conference.
Nobody likes Musselman, do they? Even Ferman in the desert doesn't like Musselman.
Yes.
At Todd Fuhrman on Twitter, bettheboardpodcast.com. Ferman, thank you very much for the time. Enjoy your trip.
Hey, always a pleasure, gentlemen. Enjoy the games this weekend, and good luck at the wagering window.
All right, buddy. You take care. Ferman with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Brought to you by our friend Dr. B. Under that big red hat you can get in the next round store, you also get Dr. Beckenstein.
I had my final non-invasive treatment on the couch last night of the week. I do it 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time. That's all I'm doing. My hair is more than doubled in thickness. Make the phone call that I made to Dr. Beckenstein just a couple of years ago, 205-319-0316. Schedule that consultation. For more information, you can always go online, t3hair.net. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training, and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316. Tell him the next round sent you. For more information, t3hair.net.
Subscribe and set alerts at Disrupt the Media on YouTube.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com.
Legacy Credit Union has the ultimate game changer for your finances. With Engaged Checking, you can earn 3% APY on balances up to $15,000. You heard correctly, 3% APY. But it's not just about scoring with high yields. With Engaged Checking, you can get paid up to 2 days early. That means your paycheck, Social Security, tax refund, you name it, you get it early. So stop sitting on the sidelines and get in the game with Engaged Checking. Sign up today at LegacyCreditUnion.com or visit any 9 Greater Birmingham area branches. APY is annual percentage yield. Terms and conditions may apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from the Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our not for all ages podcasts like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
$67 million to 1 odd.
You ever going to the moon?
Yeah, that's pretty high.
I would say that's pretty high.
67 million to 1.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I would go is if somebody actually I was bound and gagged.
Is the only way you'd go to the moon?
I wouldn't want to go.
Long trip to be bound and gagged.
Yeah.
The Japanese.
You would want to go?
Yeah, I'd like to go to the moon.
Oof. The Japanese lunar landing module touched down last night, by the way.
Oh, did it? I didn't stay up and watch it.
It landed upside down and not very softly, a battery malfunction, just to prove how awesome we were back in the 60s.
Poor driving, obviously.
Yeah.
Boom.
Cliff Rome, or Rami, Romme, 77 years old, hit 2 hole-in-ones in the same round at the Orange Tree Resort out in Arizona. Hole 4 and hole 7 par 3s.
Putt-putt.
8 iron on one, 9 iron on the other. They say it's 67 million to 1 odds.
Is there a chance that he only had 1 hole-in-one, but he remembered it as 2?
His buddy signed off on it, and they gave him the actual flag from each hole that he hit it there. There's his group there as they attested to it. The guy on the left, I think, is farting and it is actually not really taking a picture there. He's passing a little gas there.
You think those 3 got some stories?
By the way, beer was hit.
3 PGA Tour players during course play in the history of the PGA Tour has got 2 hole-in-ones in 1 round.
I mean, it's pretty uncommon. Like, I've played a lot of golf in my life. I've got 2 my entire life. Yeah. 2 in 1 round.
Do you have one, Dunaway?
No.
I would say most golfers don't.
I think my closest one is like that par 3 number 8 at Ballantrae.
I remember Kim Jong-il. His story was he did 18 holes
all the time.
Yeah. He hit 18 holes.
And he stopped. He had stuff. I'm good.
But I've only played a few rounds in my life, but I've come within an inch twice. One of the times I was playing with you out at Greystone.
I do remember that, yeah. I thought it was in at that time, yeah.
Our friends at Legacy bring you that update on the odds of getting 2 hole-in-ones together there. But at Legacy, I want to talk to you for a second about transferring your high interest rate credit card debt over to a Legacy credit card. LegacyCreditUnion.com. right here, but balance transfers are so important, especially this time of year when you make a point to sit down and sort of reevaluate everything going on in your life, both personally and sometimes financially. No balance transfer fees with the Legacy card. No annual fee. 2.99% annual percentage rate for balance transfer fees for 6 months. And credit card rates as low as 8.90% APR. Now, the APR is the annual percentage rate. Terms and conditions apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA. It's LegacyCreditUnion.com, LegacyCreditUnion.com, or you can visit any of their 9 greater Birmingham area branches. Nate Oats will join the show coming up at 10:45, right after Trash today. As we get ready for another big weekend in basketball, what happened to Juwan Howard at Michigan? Because pre-pandemic, he had that thing going really well. They're 7-12 this year. They got blown out by Purdue, good team, 99-67 earlier this week. And Juwan Howard, who at one point thought it was perfect, man. He's a Michigan great, Fab Five guy, ended up coming back, being a head coach, and looked like he had it churning for a bit. And since then, he's had that awkward sort of punch altercation, and the team
Greg
has just
Garb with Wisconsin. What was that? Well, that was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, and it's just gradually gotten worse since then.
Yeah, I just don't think he's a good coach. I mean, I think it's as simple as that. You look at John Beilein, the guy that he followed up. John Beilein was hell of a coach. Now, Juwan Howard had one really good year.
23-5. Yeah, 23-5. Lance went to the Elite Eight. Now, the next year, he did go to the Sweet 16. That was when he was suspended 5 games at the end of the year.
But not really a good team. Just made one of those Sweet 16 runs, but still made a Sweet 16.
They did.
He's had a couple of good years there, but since it's kind of fallen apart, I don't know if he's gotten lazy. I don't know what recruiting, what's happened there. But watching some of the end games when it's a tight game, and you lost your best player. You know, if you're Michigan, you should be able to retain a guy like Hunter Dickinson. Yeah. Now, he goes to Kansas. He wants to win a national championship. I get it.
But it didn't seem like he was going to do that at Michigan. So it's just weird to see how quickly it went off for Juwan Howard. He has to be one of the bigger job openings on the hot seat right now as we approach February, about 6 weeks away from Selection Sunday for that. As we remember...
You know who I would get if I was Michigan?
Who?
Chris Beard.
Chris Beard. Well, you know whose name is going to pop up. It's going to be Nate Oats because he's a Michigan high school, the state of Michigan high school basketball coach with deep roots in the recruiting up there.
But Chris Beard, you know, and I talked to Chip about this last week. We were talking about Chip and the Rodney Terry, the horns down. They had their guy in Chris Beard. That was the guy that was going to take Texas to a Final Four and to win them a national championship. Chris Beard is that good of a coach. So, you know, his drama seems to kind of be behind him now that Ole Miss gave him a shot. Yeah, and you wonder if he's going to stay loyal to Ole Miss.
That's what I was about to ask. Is it the Bruce Pearl deal where now Bruce could have had a lot of jobs? Well, let me say 2 things about Bruce. Bruce could have had a lot of jobs based on his success at Auburn and his I don't know that eye has ever even wondered, because I do think he feels a great deal of loyalty, one, to Auburn, but Bruce has also proved I can go to the Final Four at Auburn. Why do I need to go anywhere else? And I wonder if Chris Beard's done it at Texas Tech. If you can go to the Final Four at Texas Tech, you can in Oxford, Mississippi, too.
Yeah, but you could also create a power in Michigan.
You could. I mean, you never know what drives those guys, but I wonder if Chris Beard will, as the years go on and people try to pluck him out of Oxford, if he'll have the same type of loyalty that Bruce Pearl has had to Auburn.
Yeah, maybe so. Anyway, back to your point. It's a great job.
Yeah, it is. And it looks like it's going to come opening this year. And you guys would agree Nate's name would be mentioned, right?
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. You'd be crazy not to look at him.
Yeah, because, you know, not only is Nate a really good coach and a guy that's got a lot of tournament experience, but also just a fun style of basketball.
I can't remember which game it was I was watching Alabama play, but it was Tom Hart doing the game. And he said it this way, and it is interesting when you think of it this way, that since Nate Oats arrived at Alabama, the SEC has awarded 8 total trophies in basketball, and his teams have won 4 of them. I mean, it's 2 regular season, 2 tournament championships.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's been very successful at Alabama. He's had an overall number 1 seed. The one hump he hasn't really been able to get over is obviously a really deep run in the tournament.
And I think that's the difference. I mean, you imagine the narrative on Nate Oats. I think people would consider him maybe a top 5 to 10 active coach if that number 1 overall seed last year would have made a Final Four run.
That's right. Little disappointing there, but he will be well liked. Landmine believer all through it. David, Nate ain't leaving Dunaway. Next year's team is stacked. He's going to want to coach that. He's got 2 McDonald's All-Americans coming in. David, Nate's not going to Michigan. I do worry when Tom Izzo at Michigan State decides to retire. Michigan State with a more recent, better basketball history, but
I would rather follow Juwan Howard than
Tom Izzo. But don't forget that in this most recent coaching contract extension, which came last year, Alabama not only showed a commitment to Nate Oats, but Nate Oats showed a commitment to Alabama. It was and I can't remember the exact numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but it was a large buyout for him to leave. Now, he got well taken care of by Alabama, but he also showed a commitment to Alabama and what the buyout was for him to leave.
Yeah, look, I know Alabama's never been to a Final Four, but to me, easier to leave Oxford again. I understand there's underlying things with the loyalty, Chris Beard, but leaving Alabama to go to Michigan is different than leaving Ole Miss to go to Michigan.
Yeah, and I would say this because I know sometimes things get clipped out for message boards or things. I'm not saying Nate would ever leave Alabama.
No, you're just saying Michigan. Warren Manuel would probably make that call.
His name will be mentioned because he's at that. His name will be mentioned if Calipari retires at Kentucky or if Barnes retires at Tennessee. His name will be mentioned because that's where Nate Oats has risen coach-wise. on the national scene right now.
That's what you want.
Yeah, and as Andrew is saying, Auburn fans getting to the point they're going to want him to leave. He's 6-3 now against Bruce.
Well, I mean, I think Auburn fans like what they got too, but yeah, he is 6-3 against Bruce Pearl. They're going to play 2 games, maybe 3 games a year for quite a long time.
Hey, another name I would throw out there just to take a look at would be Mark Few. And here's why I say this. Gonzaga, what do you think their NIL is?
Oh, it's nowhere close to what.
There has to be a correlation what is going on in Spokane with NIL right now.
Because they are way off the radar from where they were.
Yeah, and, this is a team that, they were, a 1 or 2 seed, it seemed like 8 to 10 years. And now they're not even ranked right now.
That is hard to believe that they're not ranked.
Yeah. And they've got easier schedule down the stretch here. And still don't have enough wins right now that has them in the top 25.
They're not getting in the tournament unless they win their conference tournament.
They end up losing to San Francisco last night?
I think they did lose to San Francisco because we had the Zags last night.
Oops.
Tried to stay up and monitor that, but it was a 1-point game at halftime, and they ended up actually winning the game.
Yeah, that's when I stopped watching. It was a 1-point game at the half, and I was wondering if the Dons ended up winning the contest.
I'll point out, though, they're still top 25, top 30 in the net. So don't hang it up on them making the tournament just yet.
Yeah, but I'm just saying Mark Few probably would love to conclude career there, but is it realistic you can win a championship there now with NIL?
Zag started the week at 20 on the Ken Palm, so they're not out of the conversation yet. Well, when we come back, more on the NFL playoff weekend college football show being brought to you by Lance'sLock.com. His NFL game of the year is Sunday at Lance'sLock.com. Lance'sLock.com. Go there, sign up, and be a member throughout the year, especially during baseball season. He's fantastic. And then football season's coming up. March Madness is coming up. Lance'sLock.com, brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill.
Yeah, Hemp Hill Services, 205-229-2090. Make that call to Adam, Chad, Andrew. The guys at Hemp Hill Services, make sure your unit ready to keep up with this changing weather. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. It's Hemp Hill Services. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
The next round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
There are so many things I love about Walk-Ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-Ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with Walk-Ons. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Another hour of the show being brought to you by our friends at Champy's world famous fried chicken. NFL playoffs this weekend, AFC NFC Championship. If you want to hear more on that, go back with Todd Fuhrman, podcasted earlier. Nate Oats later this hour, scheduled to be with us at 11:45. Noah Carter, big 4-star edge rusher from Arizona, picked Alabama yesterday. 6'4", 220-pound edge rusher, 4-star edge guy. Noah Carter is a Kaylen DeBoer recruit now, too. So the import business is back in service in Tuscaloosa, not all exports.
Yeah, hey, West Coast guy, too. I would assume that Noah Carter was a guy that was being recruited by DeBoer when he was in Seattle.
Very much so. Was a Washington guy there. So we told you earlier a couple of big Ole Miss pickups, including both offensive linemen from Washington, Kalepo and Boutte, both part of that Joe Moore award-winning offensive line at Washington. They are on their way to Ole Miss. Asa Turner, safety, is on his way to Florida. So a lot of that Washington roster that was in the national championship, and you say to yourself, could that Washington roster have played in the SEC? We're about to find out because they're sprinkled all over the Southeastern Conference this year. Champy's Chicken this hour, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Jeff from Anniston is on the phone with us now. Hey, Jeff, how are you, buddy?
What's up, Mac Daddies?
Man, I thought about you yesterday, Jeff, because since I know you're an Alabama guy, since Nick Saban retired, the hiring of DeBoer, I was wondering your takes on that. I don't want to steal any of your weird stuff you want to talk about, but I was wondering where you had been.
Well, yeah, I've got one or two things I was going to say on that, but I'll just say that one of the things I was going to say that had something to do with that, and I was very pleased with the hire. I'll put it like that. I thought that, of the realistic ones to get, I was very pleased with it. Now, y'all think it's a sign that I'm getting old if the last two things that I've genuinely got happy about is commode related?
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. Is it your actual commode or what you did on said commode?
Well, I'm always proud of that. But yeah. I got one that's chair height now. It's not really a chair height, but it's called that. It's a lot higher up. Oh, God. And it's got one of those slow closing lids.
Yeah. My gosh, yeah.
And then at Christmas, my sister got me a nightlight that hangs inside the commode, and the lights change colors, and it's motion sensitive and light sensitive. I mean, what a freaking blessing, man! It makes it a joy to go at night. It really does, man. But why do y'all think?
Does it play music too? Like that?
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome if you could hit the right number or something? I had little numbers down there. And you could...
A voice.
Chris is right. You say commode. I haven't heard commode. Yeah. I would say 99 out of 100 people call it a toilet, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Calhoun County where you live, and I didn't hear people around there call it a commode.
It was a commode when I was little is what it was called. But since I've been an adult, it's been toilet.
Yeah, us poor folk had to use commodes. Yeah, why do y'all think it is that the NFL is so insistent on keeping game day rosters so low? I can see in the old days.
Because you have to pay them.
Yeah, but in the old days, I can see that. But now, hell, they got more money than they know what to do with it.
Yeah, but the owners would rather have that money.
But have you seen it? Even when you get a spate of injuries, there's always another guy in there. I have yet to watch a game where they're out of cornerbacks. The Dolphins have had so many injuries, they can't field a cornerback right now. So Christian Wilkins is going to fall back to the corner.
Yeah, interestingly, now they've got the new rule, the emergency number 3. But, in the past, I can remember games, more so last year's NFC Championship game, where you run out of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I just don't see the reason. Why not try to get the best product you can out there. But I know y'all hated to see him leave. But damn, a coaching change at Bama has a little bit of effect on y'all's viewership numbers.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, that was amazing. I mean,
pretty damn near explosive.
Yeah, I had no idea that it would react that way when it happened, but when it happened, it reacted that way for sure. Yeah,
it did, man. That was very impressive.
We think,
and you know, I was going to say this before he retired, but I really think outside of 2007, the last 2 years, his teams were probably at least two of the three least Bama teams he's had, and with maybe 2014 and probably the last two besides 2007. To me, I think the rest of the Bama teams he had would manhandle them. Would y'all agree with that? Because I think a middle of the pack Bama team of Saban's would have breezed through the championship.
I would agree. I think this is one of his best coaching jobs. Talent, top to bottom, probably worst. Yeah.
All right. And as I've told y'all, I would definitely become more NFL-centric now since the man's gone. I'm not bitter, and I'll still keep up, just not near as intensely. It's just a different game than the one I fell in love with. But I'm glad I got to see it at its best, and I just wish we had playoffs 30 years ago.
No, I know, but hey, based on your question, I've been thinking a lot about this for some reason. When players become employees of the athletic department, which is soon going to happen, I bet you see shrunken rosters in college football, too.
From 85. That was my point earlier, because we're paying you now.
That's right.
So I don't need to give that scholarship to the kid from Homewood who, our big booster, blah, 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 blah.
And I can't afford to. I can't afford to pay 85 players. I can afford to pay maybe 60. I don't know what the number will be, but the schools will agree on smaller rosters.
And I know Jeff's old enough for this, but there was a time you could travel whatever you wanted to travel on the road. And way back when I was a teeny kid in the 70s, I never really understood it, but they put in a rule that you could only travel 70 in the SEC.
Yeah.
It was an SEC rule. I don't know if it's national now or not, but the SEC, you only took 70 on the road. So 15 of your scholarship players had to stay at home, and all of your walk-ons never made their trip.
That had to be cost-related, right?
It was 100% cost-related.
Right. Yeah. And just imagine the amount of money you spend on just one scholarship player, the amount of money that goes towards him for everything.
And the 85 scholarship limit was cost related. That was why they came up with that random number of 85.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, remember Bear Bryant or anybody else, Woody Hayes, they could just recruit whoever they wanted. We'll pay
Bear
for
would
it.
get them just so you couldn't have them. Yep. Better second banana, John Oates or Garfunkel. Yeah, that's it.
I would go Oats.
I think I would go John Oates as well.
Where are they on their dispute right now?
I haven't heard lately.
I actually would go Garfunkel because he did. He actually sang. What was that? Bridge over Troubled Water?
Yeah.
And I don't know any of the other guy was the lead singer on.
Paul Simon?
No, Darrell Hall, John Oates.
Darrell Hall was the voice of Hall and Oates,
right?
But Paul Simon was the writer and say like Art Garfunkel.
No. But he was asking me which was the better, more important sidekick.
Oh, I would say Oates then.
Yeah.
What if I threw in Andrew Ridgely
from Wham?
Yeah.
I think he was probably
Brian Dunkelman-esque.
Yeah, I mean he was proven to be the unneeded guy for sure.
Yeah, so he would be third on your list.
So y'all said Austin Mack had size 17 shoes. I guess that explains the long line at his apartment. Right?
Wow.
Funnier, longer laugh out loud moment in a movie: the end of The Hangover on the picture reveal, or the 40-year-old virgin chest waxing.
The picture reveal is always great.
Yeah, I think I'd go
nobody
picture
knew that was
reveal.
coming. The hair thing, even though it was improv, like he was literally getting his hair ripped off for real. Like that was
that was the funny part about that. When you watch 40-Year-Old Virgin, I thought that was a really underrated movie, but watching him bleed from that.
Yeah. But if you stayed the first time you went to the theater for Hangover and hung around and got that, you were like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That was really good. Why don't they always do this?
And I was too lazy to look it up, but has there been a college team to make the Finals Four in football and basketball the same year?
Florida?
Yeah, Florida. Well, I guess
2014 would be the first year.
Yeah, but there wasn't a Final Four when Florida did it. Yeah,
it wasn't a Final Four.
No, I don't think so.
Florida did the national championship, though.
Yeah, but there hadn't been a Final Four. I don't even think
Well, if you want to get into the fine print, I can sell you some land in Arizona too.
Was there any college that made both the Final Four since 2014, regardless of year? I can't think of one, but like that. All right, college question and 2 playoff matchup questions. I'll let you go. Bama people might get mad at me, and most will probably disagree, and I truly hope I'm wrong. But I think Bama will not win a national championship with Milroe at quarterback. There, I said it. Do y'all agree or disagree?
Well, you got one more shot, and I think the odds are against Alabama in year 1 under DeBoer winning it, so I would agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I would take the field over Alabama, but to be fair, I'd take the field over any team. So that's not necessarily Alabama related, but if you wanted me to bet on that, I'd bet against Alabama, yes.
And I would tell you,
So
it
you
has
think
nothing.
Milroe's for sure gone? Oh, he said so, pretty much, I guess.
Well, I would just say that you could say that about, just about anybody. It wouldn't be Milroe's fault. Bryce Young didn't win one either. Bryce Young was a pretty darn good quarterback.
Yeah. I question about both playoff games. More important to get 3+ sacks on Purdy or hold McCaffrey to under 100 yards rushing for the Lions?
Hold McCaffrey to under 100 yards rushing.
I would go.
I mean, just think of that. Add that to his receiving. He probably goes 200+ total yards that day then.
Yeah, but I was going to say McCaffrey, even if you hold him to 70 rushing yards, he could have 140 receiving.
Yeah.
So I would go Aiden Hutchinson and Detroit getting in that backfield, putting pressure on Brock Purdy, who really has never played at this level. You go back to last year, he was in for one series against Philadelphia in the championship game. There's so much pressure on Brock Purdy. And let's not forget, just 3 games ago, he threw 4 picks against Baltimore.
Yeah, and he was horrible last week. No, it was weather-related, but he was horrible.
Yeah, they should have been 2 more picks from Green Bay, and they should have lost the game.
All right. Last one. More important in the game, Chiefs hold Ravens to under 145 yards rushing, or Mahomes throws for at least 250.
Well, I'd say the 145 yards rushing, would probably mean you've limited what Lamar Jackson does on broken plays. So to me, that is huge. What Lamar Jackson can turn a 3rd and 8 into a 20-yard gain, and not many people in the NFL can do that.
Yeah, look, and I don't know how much is going to be on Lamar's legs on Sunday because, they just activated Mark Andrews, his favorite target. And this is a guy that hasn't played since mid-November, and Isaiah Likely's been really good.
Zay Flowers is terrific.
Filling the void at tight end. But, Zay Flowers, you got some weapons there. I could see Lamar have a big day with his arm.
Yeah, Rashad Bateman's a great 4th or 5th receiver at times. It's a talented little Baltimore team and a great home field advantage. Jeff, thank you for the call, man.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks for hanging around. It just dawned on me what Jeff does there. It did seem like when you asked him a question to start with, he had to reset the script,
that was my bad.
Start at the beginning.
Yeah.
I do think they're written down. And I think he sort of is a little bit of what I used to try to do with Sports in My Shorts on Rick and Bubba back in the day.
Pause for the punchline, pause for the crowd laughter.
There was even a one-line joke. I forget what it was about now. He had that one-line joke in there about the size 17 shoe. And he,
he shakes his list like you when he gets the paper out.
Then he moved on. Yeah. Size 17 shoe, long line in an apartment. Am I right?
So the segment you did, was it a humorous segment?
It was both information and funny. Sports in My Shorts. 13 years.
Jim did a really good job of that. I remember listening to that on Rick and Bubba when I was, I think I was in high school at the time. Kidding, Jim.
At some point probably. So I just know that
you did it. So did you do it when we were doing this?
I made it all the way until I started doing it with you, and you know how it ended up breaking up was because
there was a call I got Newport about that too.
It broke up because of them. They left. Rick and Bubba did to the other company. And we were still with, was it Dick or Cumulus when we started together?
Citadel, I believe.
Citadel when we started together. And so they had left and gone to the other company. And I was still doing it because I was on TV too, and they had not stopped me from doing it until they sold a legacy spot endorsement on their station that they read, Sports in Your Shorts is brought to you by Legacy. And that's when our company said, whoa. It was okay for you to doing it because that was great publicity for you. Now that they're making money off of you over there, nah.
Yeah, but I still don't get you're not endorsing it.
No, I don't know if you remember, though, initially when they left, they were going to stop you from doing it. And you and I were on AM together before we joined up with Lance. And we went to our market manager like, okay, a competitive station is actually going to promote our station on their show, and we're not going to let them do that?
The number one rated show in the state.
We're going to tell a morning show on a whole nother station and a whole nother company they can't promote our station on their air.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
And they would say he does a sports show on AM 690. He'd still do it
every time. Yeah, you hear him every afternoon with Ryan Brown on AM 690, and I'm like, we're going to tell another station not to promote our station.
Do you know how much we'd have to pay to get that promotion?
I know.
But then it was like they'd read it right up to the song that they had. They would go, Jim's Sports in Your Shorts, brought to you every week by our friends at Legacy.
That's what
Legacy Credit Union. Hit it. Sports in his shorts.
Jim Dunaway.
Sports in his shorts.
That's a good segment, man.
Show brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision today.
205-969-8100. That is the number that I called over 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. After I got the procedure done, only took 12 minutes for both eyes. 20/15 vision, better than 20/20. Make the phone call that I made. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation, 0 to lose, to find out if LASIK is right for you. Also, pre-inflation pricing going on right now from our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Give me 30-second answers on these 2 NFL topics. 1, have we seen Bill Belichick coach his last game in the NFL?
I would say yes. I think there was flirtation, obviously, with the Falcons. They decided to go Raheem Morris, which I hate. I think Raheem Morris is a great defensive coordinator. Won a championship in L.A. just 2 years ago under Sean McVay. Didn't have success with your Bucs, 3-run stint back in the day. I don't know how much success he's going to have. Players are going to love him, but I don't think Belichick will be back.
I would say yes. We are done with Bill Belichick as an NFL coach. I don't know why people think he's going to be a good analyst on TV, but I think that's going to be his next job.
Luis Rees-Zammit, known as Rees Lightning, is a 22-year-old Wales rugby player, and he will try out for the NFL this year. 6'3", and rugby, has a lot of contact and tackling, but what makes Rees Lightning at 6'3" so attractive to the NFL is that his 100-yard dash speed matches that of Tyreek Hill of the Dolphins.
Well, my Dolphins will be all about him because that's what they love.
Wait,
is finding guys that can run.
6'3", he's built like a little bit of a linebacker or safety.
Do you have a weight on him, though?
I do not have the weight. I didn't write it down, but it was listed here. He's not skinny. He's muscular. 6'3", muscular guy.
225, 230.
Plays Wales rugby. It was whatever match 6'3" as an NFL player. And he's the star in rugby for the Wales team. And he's passing on going to the World Cup to come in the NFL series that they have where they work non-American players into the system. It's an amazing video if you watch his speed. Again, nicknamed Rees Lightning. You got to be pretty good. Now, they don't have pads on, and when you run in pads, it's a little different than running track.
194 pounds, 6'3", 194.
Yep. So flies a little bit. That's receivers.
Where are they saying they're going to play him?
It didn't say. He was going to start working in whatever that program is, the NFL, to bring non-football players and give them a shot.
I mean, you look at Cordero Patterson, you look at Deebo Samuel getting carries out of the backfield. I mean, hell, if that's his strength, if he's got that kind of speed and he's got that physicality.
Better learn to pick up the blitz.
This will be interesting to watch.
Patrick says, I can't wait for Rees Lightning to steal Taylor Swift away from Travis Kelce, bringing that whole breakup album that will come out. But keep an eye on the Rees-Zammit, Rees Lightning, and see if he can make an NFL roster practice squad at some point. Trash is coming up next. The show being brought to you by our friends at World of Wills, which is coming to Legacy Arena. That includes the Beeve, who is still a thing. He's coming on. Is it Sunday? He'll be down there?
He's going to be there on Sunday. February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills. McFoley there on Friday. The Beeve, Jerry Mathers on Sunday. Ken Diggett from Ken Diggett Designs is going to be there on Saturday. You can go meet all those people, get a photo, get an autograph. Great things for the kids. A lot of free things to do once you get in there. Keep those kids entertained. Cars and motorcycles and things like that you will not see anywhere else. It is the World of Wills. WorldOfWills.net. WorldOfWills.net. The O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills. February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the BJCC.
Follow John Lunsford on Twitter @JLuntz.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com. The latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
Nate Oats in the next segment. About to jump in here for trash, brought to you today by our friends at Mortgage Right. LT's got that lined up for us right now. If you will, Rockstar, hit the big button, my man.
57. And to another woman who likes to be double-fisted in a different way, I think, Jess.
She means beer. Don't put me on YouTube. My God.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Buying a home, major milestone in life. Getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. That's why we're proud to partner with our friends at Mortgage Right, who do mortgages the right way. Conveniently located, Highway 280 in Birmingham. You can call 205-815-9200. You can apply online. MortgageRight.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. So when I was in Amish country, when I lost that bet, and that started the decline of me for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. You've bounced back, though.
I saw a lot of horse and buggies. And
It's their main source of transportation other than walking,
but
isn't
this
it?
doesn't seem like a good idea if you are a thief. An Amish family had their horse and buggy stolen while they shopped at a Michigan Walmart, according to police. The theft took place on Saturday around 5:30 p.m. in the town of Sturgis, Michigan, when the Sturgis Department of Public Safety were called to the Walmart to report of a stolen Amish buggy and horse from the establishment's parking lot. They want to say, quote, a truck driver parked in the lot had seen a female steal the buggy. Gave police a description of the female suspect. As it turns out, police had already made contact with the 31-year-old female suspect earlier in the day at the same Walmart, though officials did not elaborate on why they had spoken to her or what the reason for contact was.
Those things don't have a low jack?
It seems so bulky. They would seem like they'd be a pain in the ass to drive.
Well, just go back
It's just easier to steal the car. It's not going to stand out, right?
When you were a kid, any cowboy movie in the past, when they'd steal the stagecoach and they'd start trying to run away from the law, eventually what would happen?
Well, they tilted it over.
It would either turn over or one of the wheels would fall off.
I thought you were going to give me a tump.
A tumped
I was
over.
going to until you almost gave me a tump.
You said tilted over. Were you baiting him in?
Yeah. When you said that, I corrected myself. I was going to go tumped over.
Anyway, horse was returned to the family along with the buggy. Following the incident, police say the animal was unharmed during the ordeal. So no reason for PETA to get all banged up.
Right. No, horse is all right.
Okay, that's now back-to-back days with PETA. I'm going to keep a running total 0 days since we last mentioned PETA.
Is this a horse jacking? Would that be a horse jacking?
Yeah.
A lot of pumpkins out front of Walmart.
Yeah, it's very fallish.
So apparently,
hey, so I had a friend.
October stock photo.
This is one of my pet peeves. So I let somebody out in the middle of 5 o'clock traffic on 280 the other day. Didn't wave. Didn't say thank you.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just a half-hearted wave. I'll take.
I had to aggressively get out in front of somebody, and they sped up like they were going to hit me, and I still gave them a wave.
Right.
Instead of an
Hey,
FU.
I understand that. You had to hit the brakes.
That's
I
right.
appreciate
get
it. I had to get out.
My bad. Yep.
I gave one yesterday leaving our church parking lot.
A bird or a wave?
No, I'm waiting to come out.
The Roman phallic symbol.
Like traffic is about to stop probably where little T is sitting in the command center right now. Traffic has come to a complete stop. I'm waiting to come out. This car is coming at a pretty good speed, but obviously a quick flick of your lights, or if you just slow down a little bit like you're about to have to, I can pull out. And this lady is slowing down, but to the point I'm not going to pull out and make her come to a complete stop. And, I keep waiting. I'm inching forward, and she's not going to let me out. So I gave her the wave as she rolled past me. I was like, the next guy flashes his light really quick, saw what had happened, let me out. Yeah, it drives me crazy.
The reason I bring this up is I was on the phone with one of our buddies when I let that person out and they didn't wave, and I was telling the story. I was like, that son of a... And he said, I had a situation the other day where somebody... he had let out, he honked the horn, and they went back and forth, and he was like, you know what, I pulled back, though, because I don't know if that guy's got a gun or not.
Yeah.
And it is true in today's society, you never know who's packing, you never know who's crazy, and somebody that would do something. But a man shocked movie patrons when he pulled out a gun during a weekend showing at the Logan Theater after he was told to be quiet.
Oh, wow.
Now, it happened during a showing of UHF, which is so random, 1989 comedy featuring Weird Al.
Great film.
You know what?
Very underrated film. It's a premiere of Michael Richards pretty much doing Kramer before it ever came out.
Oh, really?
Great film.
Interesting.
Really uncomfortable, awkward, great film.
You know what's not quiet is that gun.
So it happened during this showing in Milwaukee. Some neighbors took to social media to express a concern over the incident, which flooded the Milwaukee Avenue block with police lights around midnight. Now, the man had been told to be quiet repeatedly by theater staffers and viewers. After talking through most of the movie, customers then saw the man stand up, heard the cock of a gun. People dropped to the floor before the man stormed out. The man's license plate was shared with police, but officials said no arrests have been made as of this past Tuesday afternoon.
You know something I do? And I don't know if you guys do the same. Well, I mean, it's a very specific situation, but out the back of my neighborhood is a little community. Very nice community, good restaurants. My daughter's school is in that community. There's a service station, a restaurant that we love that our friend has started. But, I mean, there's a lot of families there and their kids out playing and stuff, and people fly down that road. Mm-hmm. So if I see them coming flying, I'll pull out in front of them and go slow. And, boy, I've had them get up on me and hammer the horn, but you need to slow down.
I get behind them and flash lights. And
another thing, slowing them down.
Another thing I do is when people are on their phone and they're drifting into other lanes, I'll hit the lights on them too, and I'll flash the lights.
I've seen you do that.
I really do wish I had a blue light that I could throw up on the dash.
You remember that evangelist had that one and it got him in trouble. I hadn't heard from him in a while. I think he's done.
We should be worried more about taking water to Africa.
Next story's got cocaine dealer. Have you guys? I brought up. I watched. What was it? Now I'm losing my
mind. Train of thought.
Esmeralda? What am I looking?
Esmeralda?
Esmeralda.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the what is her name? Sofia Vergara?
Yeah, they promoted that thing about how they had to make her unattractive to look. They just made like a little crooked nose.
Yeah, but she doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
I mean, she looks completely different. But anyway, she plays a really good part. I watched 2 episodes last night.
Oh, and you don't like her either.
No, I don't. But I mean, she's playing such a different character in this. Boy, she is ruthless. But I recommend after watching 2 episodes, it was good.
You would like Louder Milk, I think, on Netflix. It was number 1 on Netflix yesterday, so I watched a couple of episodes. He doesn't give he doesn't give 2 craps about what he says to anybody.
So what's it about?
He's just a retired writer who's a recovering alcoholic. He runs a support group at a local Catholic church. But the first scene is him opening the door.
Who's the actor?
God, he's a famous guy. Always looks disheveled. I can't remember his name. I'll look it up in the commercial break.
Ron Livingston.
Who?
Ron Livingston from Office Space.
Yeah, big fan of Ron Livingston.
He opens the door for a lady at what appears to be a Starbucks or a local coffee shop. Ladies first. And then they walk up to the counter at the same time, and she pulls out her phone, and she's like, okay, I'm going to need 6 lattes. I'm going to need 3. And he's like, whoa, wait.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And she's like, you said ladies first. And he's like, that was back there. I was letting you in the door. It was back there. I'm right here. I'm just ordering a black coffee. You need to get out of your phone.
Wow. Yeah, the last time, and I'm not going to tell you guys the bar, but it was a local bar, and this is probably, it might have been about this time last year. But I'm at the crowded bars on a Friday or Saturday night, and the bartender, by name, asked me what I want.
Hey, Lance.
So I order, and the girl next to me, 2 girls, what about ladies first? And I'm like, there's no reason to even have this conversation. The bartender in this crowded bar directly asked me what I wanted. And it became a big deal where I said some things. They said some things. I said some things I probably shouldn't have said.
Well, the show is probably a C+ or a B-, but the opening scene to every episode is not part of the story. It's just a awkward moment where he tells somebody off.
So just watch first 5 minutes.
Yeah, he pulls up in one scene, and the guy's like, he's like, hey, how far is it until whatever town? And the guy who's walking with his wife's like, it's 12 miles as the crow flies. And he's like, What if I got a dog that walks backwards and spits out nickels? How far is it then? And he just runs through this long rant of, why would you tell me it's 12 miles as a crow fly?
I'm not a crow.
I'm driving.
Yeah.
How far is it?
I do believe in ladies first. Like, I open the door for ladies, but, once you get in an establishment like that, it's first in line.
But here's what I would say if I was that girl. Thank you for opening the door. By the way, I've got a rather large order.
That's right.
That's exactly
So
right.
why don't you go in front of me?
Yeah.
Right.
Or, by the way, you open the door, ladies first, and she says, well, thank you. She walks in and she goes, but you go first.
No, yeah, but I'm just, that's what I'm saying.
I do this, a lady or man, it doesn't matter. If I've got a grocery cart full of groceries and somebody behind me, he's only got like 3 or 4 things, I'm like,
you want to go
jump
ahead.
in front.
Yeah.
Anyway, suspected cocaine dealer was found hiding inside of a dryer in a kitchen area when police Saturday raided a Louisiana residence. According to court filings, armed with a search warrant and arrest warrants, cops arrived at the Monroe home seeking a caller on Darren Pittman, 26, who had allegedly been selling crack from the 2-bedroom apartment. Investigators were met by Michelle Smith, 19, who yelled several times that Pittman, her boyfriend, was not at the residence. Smith would be arrested for obstruction when she allegedly sought to keep officers from entering and searching the property. Shade Johnson, 18, was also busted when he fought with police after arguing the validity of the search warrant. For his part, Pittman was not initially visible when cops arrived, but after looking through the 766 square foot apartment, they ended up finding him inside of the dryer in the kitchen area. Well, that'd be tough to fit into a dryer.
I used to do it all the time as a kid at my grandmother's house down in the basement. I'd pretend I was an astronaut, and I would get in there.
Wow. Okay, you ready for a dream job?
Your childhood was something else.
You ready for a dream job?
Yeah.
A dream job?
Dream.
Yes.
Earlier this month in China, they listed a job offering potential applicants the chance to play the fabled Monkey King. Now, boasting $842 a month, the job requirements are simple. You sit in a mountain, wear a monkey costume, and say hi to kids, eat a whole lot of bananas, and watch cash pour in. But don't think your lack of a degree will help you from having this once-in-a-lifetime role. They go on to say there is no academic requirements. The main requirements are having a passion for Sun Wukong, a certain talent for acting and the ability to be lively, cheerful, approachable, to interact with tourists.
So this is a video, but it's essentially, I love how I have a certain talent for acting. It's just a guy, and kids give him like hot dogs. And
I was about to say, was he
chips.
feeding him a sausage?
I mean, do I have
Bananas.
to eat off these dirty kids'
I
hands?
know.
You're getting paid. It's a dream job,
But
Jim.
that's not a real monkey right there. That's a guy.
No, I was looking because he's got cufflinks, I think.
Yeah.
He's dressed like Wolverine.
He
So
is.
that's not John Wayne dressed as a monkey.
That is so crazy. Hang out in the cave all day.
Yeah.
Well, this is in China. I mean, look, he's not Asian. That's an American.
Well, I
That's
don't
a
know
monkey,
that.
man.
He's got all makeup. I can't tell.
Oh, I think that's an American.
Huh. The Chinese people are like, so now we're outsourcing this job to America?
Yes.
How can we not have our own monkeys?
The irony there.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, man. I get a little claustrophobic. Like MRIs, I'm not a big fan of, but sitting between those rocks for that long, one small shift.
that
you
would
got
not be
problems.
good.
Finally, shower thoughts. Getting very drunk is way more fun than being very drunk.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's all about the journey, LT. A lot of things in life is about the journey.
Despite thousands of people passing away in them each year, you never hear about haunted senior care homes.
That is true.
But I mean, how many people?
Yeah, you would think the spirits would come back in there if they're going to come back anywhere. That's the last place they were.
I mean, I guess you would only hear it from the staff, right?
Yeah.
But it's a bad movie at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a good storyline. That person needs to leave and go back to their rich neighborhood for it to be interesting.
Another shower thought: the fly is the least creatively named animal.
Because it flies.
That's what they do.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have a bug named Crawl, do we?
No, I don't think so.
Or Sting.
Yeah.
This one is so true. Cranberry juice tastes like it doesn't want to be wet.
Hate it. It's awful.
It does. It does have a
swallow and it's dry.
It's so good. Another shower thought. Someone sticking one leg out from under the covers provides a perfectly balanced body temperature to fall and remain asleep. I do it all the time.
How does that
too.
work, though? Because it is 100% true.
Yeah, do it all the time.
I do it too, all the time.
And then finally, there are almost 7 billion smartphones in the world, and we have yet to truly see an unexplainable phenomenon caught on video.
Like Bigfoot. Or Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, they got one on True Detective season 4, episode 2, if you guys have seen it yet.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I did not watch it, LT. I told myself I wasn't going to watch it, so I've got it on the list to go back to.
What scared you so bad?
I just didn't like the whole following the dead son. I mean, that started.
You told me you thought it was a little too demonic.
It was. The first episode was. Did it get better in
Look,
episode 2?
there's a supernatural occult theme to this.
That scares me.
Yeah.
One of my big fears is driving on country roads and coming over the hill one time and just coming into an opening on a wooded dirt road, and they've got a devil worshiping convention going on. They're burning stuff.
They have conventions too. This is coming from a guy that hid in the
He
dryer.
just put it in
natural.
reverse, right?
The fears this man has are incredible.
But you can imagine being late at night back in college.
Did you hear about Mad Dog when you were growing up?
Where you're looking for a place to make out with a girl away from your roommates back in the dorm room.
Yeah.
So you and Charlotte may be cruising on some old road owned by U.S. Steel or something, and you're just afraid you're going to come into an opening. There'd be people out there, 60 men worshiping the devil.
Yeah, never really worried about that one.
60 men worshiping the devil. Where's the women? Nope. It's all male devil worshippers.
A birthday cake is a flavor, but birthday cake can be any flavor. It's another shower thought. Isn't that weird?
Well, that is true, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another shower thought. We're so lucky that there are no birds of prey that are capable of hunting us. Can you imagine how weird it'd be to go outside every day?
Well, the pterodactyl would have, right?
Yeah,
dinosaurs.
Sometimes you're these Facebook community groups about your neighborhood, and they'll say like, "Hey guys, let you put your small pets up because there's been hawks all day today," and it's just like to have that. I can't come to work. Why? Because there's a damn pterodactyl.
Like if we had to send 12 out to the parking lot and make sure it's clear for all of us to leave.
Well, we've got
12's out there. Okay, it's clear, guys.
Red-tailed hawks around my house, and
I've had them in my backyard.
You were part of the opening ceremonies from the Beer Olympics in the summer of 2022,
right?
And one of our friends came and brought her little dog, and by the end of the Beer Olympics, her little dog was walking all over by itself. And I knew it was going to get picked up.
Yeah, you were afraid that little Bama was going to get picked up there. All right, when we come back, Nate Oats, Alabama head basketball coach, joins the show. That's brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champy'schicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling and the crew ready to give you that wonderful southern fried food, brined overnight, cooked to order, hot when it comes out, hand-cut chicken fingers, and Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It's our old friends at champy'schicken.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Are you ready for a winning season in your finances? Legacy Credit Union is bringing you a slam dunk deal on their credit cards. Apply for their balance transfer and pay zero balance transfer fees. That's right, there is no balance transfer fees, and they're offering a jaw-dropping 2.99% APR for the first 6 months. Whether you're looking to clear the cord of those holiday expenses or just wanting to streamline your finances, apply online today, LegacyCreditUnion.com. Annual percentage rate, terms and conditions may apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459 exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or HemphillServices.com. That's 205-229-2090, HemphillServices.com.
Nate Oats coming up here in just a second. We'll talk to the Alabama head coach. Basketball happening this weekend includes top 10 Auburn on the road at Mississippi State tomorrow afternoon. Alabama at home to LSU. Top 10 Ken Pom team there. Brown tells me in the net two things happened overnight. One, Alabama picked up a quad one win because they beat Oregon back in November, and now Oregon's back as a quad one team. So that is a moving target throughout the year, correct?
It is. If a team moves in, you get it in retro. Now they are 50th, so they've got to hold that spot. Oregon does, or it reverts right back to being a quad two win. But Alabama is now 4-4 in quad one games, thanks to Oregon bumping up there.
Oregon gets number 9 Arizona at home this weekend, 4:30 on Fox tomorrow. So maybe an opportunity there for them to move a little deeper inside the top 50 in that contest. And you also told me that Auburn and Alabama continue to jockey places as well.
That was weird. Alabama picked up a quad one win, but Auburn actually jumped them overnight in the net anyway. Auburn is now 7th, Alabama's 8th, so it's pretty insignificant, but I just thought that was kind of funny. Auburn 4th in the most recent Ken Pom, Alabama 8th.
Yeah, it could be the difference between a 2 or a 3 seed if the season ended today, but as Taylor Korn reminded me as we were driving home in our Instagram live chat the other day, that's stupid. The season doesn't end today, so why should we even discuss it?
That's right. I will point out another Ken Pom thing, and this happened before the game against Auburn. Purdue actually moved into the number 1 spot in their offensive efficiency ranking, the adjusted offensive efficiency. Alabama now number 2. Alabama had held that number 1 spot in offense for most of the year. Alabama currently 57th defensively. And if you are aware of the trend that we've talked often about on this show, no national champion since 2002 has finished the year outside the top 25 defensive efficiency, top 40 offensive efficiency. Auburn, for the record, 10 in offense, 5th in defense.
If I gave you guys, you could pick 4 teams that you think could win the national championship in basketball, or one team for college football next year, what would you have the better chance of naming?
So I can pick 4 college hoops teams or 1 football team?
Yeah.
I think the tournament is such a – I mean, you can be the best team in the country in the regular season, and you get to the way the NCAA tournament is set up, and you got 2 games in 3 days. I think that's the hardest championship to win in college sports is men's college basketball.
I think it would be much easier to give the college football national champion next year than to have an opportunity to give 4 this year.
Alabama basketball coach Nate Oats, fresh off his win over the Auburn Tigers, joins us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Welcome in, Coach. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. It's good to talk to you again. We were just mentioning the fact that you picked up a quad 1 win while you were asleep last night. I guess Oregon moved to 50. That's just kind of funny to see that happen. I noticed it this morning. You were now 4-4 in quad 1. So I guess you hope Oregon just continues to win, right? It only helps you.
Yeah, you know what? I do. Now they beat Arizona State, didn't they?
Yeah, they moved to 50th overnight, so they're right on that border.
That was my former boss, Bobby Hurley at Arizona State. So I did see that game was going to be played. I didn't stay up and watch it. I'm trying to prep for LSU, but that every game but that one, I'm 100% all on board with Oregon dominating every opponent. I guess I have no control over it. So we'll take the quad 1 win though. We're cheering hard for Oregon and Indiana State, because Indiana State, if they stay in the top 30, because that was a home game, and I think they're right in the top 30. So I think our 4 quad 1 wins are Oregon, Indiana State, at Mississippi State, and then Auburn at home. So, yeah, we had 0 not too long ago. Now we're at 4.
Being a former math teacher, I mean, analytics, I mean, is it something you're a numbers guy you keep up with every single day? And was there one form of math you were awful at?
I mean, listen, I enjoyed math in high school. When I got to college, like they had a non-Euclidean geometry class. Like you guys know geometry. Like, do parallel lines intersect?
They don't, Coach.
They don't.
No, they do not.
But they do. In non-Euclidean geometry. See, I was confused for weeks. It took me a while to figure it out, but I figured it out. You know, I had a globe. You get on a globe and the lines go and they intersect at the top. They're parallel at the equator. They intersect at the North Pole.
Wow.
Everybody knows that. Deepest thing we've gotten today. Or maybe deepest thing we've gotten in a couple of years on this show.
Yeah. I did not take non-Euclidean geometry at Jacksonville State. I don't know about you
I'm
guys.
guilty too.
I feel like that person should have been in charge of the lights the other night. I really do.
Dunaway.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. Whoever invented that geometry should have been servicing should have been our engineer.
Did you wonder when those lights were off, like, is it an electrical fire and is Coleman Coliseum insured for full value? Did you ever wonder that?
I mean, Greg Byrne was down trying to help figure out. I said, look, about time we get a new arena.
Yeah. And Goodfellas, they said just light a match.
Was it Greg? They were brand new lights, so we just got the lights. I don't know. It must be the electrical inside of Coleman that doesn't let the new lights work properly. I don't know. Auburn's only 3 they hit that first half was when the lights were out. So maybe we should have left the lights out for Auburn. I don't know.
Yeah, perfect lighting there for Janai on that first shot. I want to ask you, because you challenged, a couple of times this year, but especially the last 2 weeks, you were challenging this team to get tougher, to finish games. Is that a roll of the dice as a head coach? Is that a gamble, or did you sort of know how your team was going to react to that challenge?
It's always a little bit of a roll of dice. I mean, you don't know. I think, I'll say this. You challenge tough guys, call them out for not being tough, they're going to prove they're tough. Like, they're not folding to that. So if I didn't think we had some tough guys that just had another level to get to, you probably can't do that. And you just try to outscore teams. And the issue is we not last year, the year before, we tried outscoring teams. It didn't work very well. Can't win a championship doing that. So we've been telling this team that, but there's a time when you got to draw a line in the sand, and we're either going to be about it or we're going to talk about it. And we're done talking about it. Like, it's time to actually step up and prove whether we're tough or whether we're just going to talk about being tough and guarding people. So I think we got tough kids that answered the bell. We still got some things we can clean up. You know, we turn the ball over too much. You know, there's multiple things we can clean up. We fouled too much, but I think we answered whether we're tough or not against Auburn. Now we got to do it on a game-to-game basis. You can't show it that game and then come in Saturday night and not bring the intensity that it takes to beat a team like LSU on Saturday night.
Coach Nate Oats is with us. He mentions LSU. They play in Tuscaloosa Saturday night, 7 o'clock for that game, 7 o'clock in Tuscaloosa Saturday night. Coach with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You love defense. You love great defense, and that is part of intensity and being tough. For a while in the KenPom, you guys were 100th or worse in defensive efficiency. I think it's 57th today. What has changed in that?
I mean, I think some guys are playing harder. We did change our scheme a little bit. You know, we were the last 2 years we had Charles in the middle to kind of really protect the rim. So, you know, we kind of got in a drop coverage. We kind of did the opposite of what the Bucks did. You know, I follow the NBA. I don't know how much of that the NBA you follow, but their coach just got let go. Well, they had pretty good defense with Lopez in a drop like we had with Bediako. He came in, tried to change it to where they're more aggressive in the pick and roll, and didn't work because they got a real big Lopez who can drop. Well, we don't have a 7-footer like Bediako in the middle that can drop and protect. So we had to adjust, kind of get out of the drop. Now we're much more aggressive. We've got more athletic bigs, you know, with Pringle, Wage, and Grant. So we've been a little bit more aggressive, trying to keep the ball out of the paint. You know, and I think some guys just needed to get tougher, to be honest with you, compete harder, get in the ball more. I think, you know, our best player, Mark Sears, is playing harder on defense. So your defense is going to get better when your best player is playing harder on defense. So I think that's one big point. And then just some of the younger guys, you know, we started playing Mo Diabate more because he's a tougher kid. We just played the tougher guys, the guys that were a little bit more concerned about defense, and some other guys that stepped up their defense. And we're still nowhere close. You say we're 57. We're talking like, you know, we're positive and all this great. So we're still 57th. We've been third. We've been third 2 out of the last 3 years. So 57th is still nowhere close to where we're trying to be.
You know, Dunaway was at the game Wednesday night. Lights aside, just watching the game on TV, that looked like one of the best atmospheres I've seen in forever at Coleman Coliseum.
One of the old school boosters that's followed basketball forever told me it's the best environment he's seen here since the 80s. So I in the 80s, I was in elementary school. So I don't know what it was like in the 80s, but it was pretty good. Now we've had some pretty good crowds here before. I think when we beat Auburn, we down 17 with about 7.5 to go last year. I think from start to finish, this crowd was great Wednesday. There's been moments where we've had an unbelievable crowd at times when I've been here. I think the Baylor win, the Houston win, you know, the Auburn multiple times. Shoot, Auburn our first year when we were just trying to get the program off the ground, and they were top 5 in the country. We beat them. It was pretty good, but that was as good. There's been some others close. That was as good as I've seen. I think it helped that Jay Williams was on the call and it called us out like a tennis match. So I think that helped a little bit.
Yeah, he got gifted a couple of tennis balls from the student section before the game started, so it worked out really good. I was at probably one of those games in the 80s. I'm that old, Coach, which means they have me up here on TikTok now because we're trying to be on all the platforms. And the other day, I don't know how the algorithms work, but you came across my TikTok feed dancing with your daughter. And I will use the term dancing loosely. She was into whatever the TikTok. Yeah. Like she was giving it her all in the TikTok. You, on the other hand, look like we're giving me a little half-ass effort there. Can you really dance, or were you just going half in on the dance?
Listen, I don't think she has that many followers. I was not aware it was going to get that many views. I thought just her friends would see it. She begged me for about 15 minutes finally. You know how it is with kids. Sometimes it's just easier to give in. All right, let's do it and get over so I can get back to watch some video. So I did it, and it's been way too many people saw that. Yeah, it was not a very good dance. I'm not a great dancer. I spent 11 years in Detroit. They got some dancers up there. Eminem was the best rapper when I was in Detroit, but I don't really rap. I don't dance much, but it was,
shocking revelations.
But to get a redo, I'll have to give it a better effort next time.
Please. Dunaway said you were not top 100 Ken Pom dancing. Ken Pom that's not having the top 100.
I was not giving max effort. We've need some growth in the dancing area.
You mentioned Eminem. Did you spend any time on 8 Mile? Did you ever have to go recruit there or anything like that?
I mean, sure, yeah. We were up in Detroit. I drove. 8 Mile's not a place you're going out for a nice burger or anything, but I drove straight across 8 Mile to get to the north suburbs up there. But
so I've never asked for my finder's fee, but I've been Kaylen DeBoer's hype man for a long time, and I think the hire from Greg Byrne, incredible hire. I think if you're going to replace a legend, that is the best available guy. But the criticism, not only from internally Alabama fans early on, but fan bases around, this guy doesn't know the South. You really didn't know the South before you got to Tuscaloosa, right?
No, I never lived here. I mean, I grew up in Wisconsin. I lived 11 years in Detroit and 6 in Buffalo. I told everybody when I was in Detroit for 11 years, I thought almost all my kids had migrated from the South, whether it was Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia. So I had plenty of Southern food in Detroit, but I've never been in the South. So, yeah, I'll say this. If you can coach, and he can obviously coach. You got to get the right staff around you. I thought one of the best things I did was keep Petway here. He was from Alabama. Everybody knew him, loved him. He was great, still great to me. Still a huge fan. He texts me after pretty much every win, him and his wife, Kim, both. But I think, Coach DeBoer's keeping the right guys around here that know what's going on. And then to me in the South, people are friendly. If you're outgoing, genuine, and real, people see it and they welcome you in. I think they're pretty friendly down here. I love it. With the cold weather that I was getting pictures from where I grew up, I just assumed it was cold here for a week or two. These people have no idea what cold is. I still have yet to get a winter coat out. It didn't get cold enough to get a winter coat out. This was about as thick as I got. They have no idea what cold is up north.
I know you got to go, but Lions 49ers on Sunday. Who you got?
I'm going Lions. I spent 11 years in Detroit. I'm a big Dan Campbell's. I like Dan. He's good. I'm going to go with the Lions since I spent 11 years in Detroit. We got some Detroit fans on staff, too.
Coach, thank you very much for the time. Always good to catch up. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
All right, Coach.
Thank you, Nate.
Yep, take care. That is Nate Oats, Alabama basketball coach, Alabama LSU, 7 o'clock Saturday night at Coleman Coliseum. He was with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Yeah, I know. I knew he'd pick the Lions there. Too much time there in Detroit.
I think about it, came close to Buffalo playing this weekend, too. Coaching
some
Buffalo.
Time there, too. Yeah, it's true. Could have been a Buffalo Lions Nate Oats Super Bowl. Would he have been on the desk pregame? A guy that lived in both places, Nate Oats joins us.
Rick Gumble here. We bring in Nate Oats.
A big game tomorrow for Alabama just because he wants the atmosphere to still be good, but you want to continue that momentum you got with the win over Auburn. That's our show today. We're going to tape a Mystery Fifth Hour. That'll be coming out soon and work on some more stuff for you throughout the weekend. Taylor Corn's handling everything social media. Remember, like, subscribe, thumbs up, all the stuff you do at Next Round Live on any platform out there, including TikTok, where at some point you can find Nate Oats dancing. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.